Yeah.
Familiar with it?
You can hear more of Amy Jacobson on the Big Ten Network, where she breaks down the conference and the bowl season.
And I try to introduce you to the players at the University of Iowa, because that's what they're doing now since that.
Since nobody knows who plays for that team.
Exactly. Since that joke video came out of explaining to your sons an undefeated Iowa. Since then, every week now, they blast different players saying, "Hi, my name is blah, 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 and I'm the tight end, and thank you for cheering us on." It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I'll bring it to you tomorrow because it's riveting.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
You're like, oh, that's who number 46
We've
is.
got Matt Strawn, the former Iowa State Republican Party chairman, on the show tomorrow.
Oh, good.
So you two Hawkeye alumni can enjoy one another's company over Iowa's weakest 11-0 record in the history of college football.
Stop it. We're going to go to the championship.
Yeah.
Oh, those playoffs.
We're going to go all the way.
We're going to make it.
All right. So on to more serious matters.
Serious.
Yeah. Our JV president is continuing his World Goodwill Tour in Kuala Lumpur over the weekend. I always want to visit there.
Why? Just because it sounds fun? Kuala Lumpur.
No, I do want to go to Malaysia. I want to go to all the hotbeds of radicalism, the Islamic radicalization.
Really?
Yeah. So I figured. Yeah,
Mali's off your list, or are you still going to go there?
Maybe I'll push that down the list.
Okay.
I won't say off the list. But he was in Kuala Lumpur over the weekend, and again, giving his reassurances via pronouncements. Not an announcement of a strategy change. We're going to do something different in the wake of what we understand the reality on the ground is now. Just his, kind of pro forma tough talk. And this isn't Obama happy talk. There's a little bit of Obama moral indignation talk, and then there's, Obama tough talk. Take a listen.
So I want to be as clear as I can on this. Prejudice and discrimination helps ISIL and undermines our national security. And so even as we destroy ISIL on the battlefield, and we will destroy them, we will take back land that they are currently in. We will cut off their financing. We will hunt down their leadership. We will dismantle their networks and their supply lines, and we will ultimately destroy them.
It sounds like you talking about Iowa football with the rest of the... I mean, it's so cute when they talk about that. Like you're going to go take on the big boys.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
No, you're not.
Yeah, no,
and the president isn't either.
Yes, he is. But you know what he needs, Dan? Because this is a lot about imagery and the reputation we're going to form as Americans. Obama asked for the media's help,
and the media needs to help in this. I mean, I just want to say, during the course of this week, a very difficult week, it is understandable that this has been a primary focus. But one of the things that has to happen is how we report on this has to maintain perspective and not empower in any way these terrorist organizations.
So it's the media's fault.
First of all, there's layers of comedy here. First, that he needs to ask the media for help.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll do whatever he says. They'll
know.
do everything in advance of his interest to begin with. That's the baseline. Secondly, this is just a propaganda war. That's essentially what he's saying. It's a propaganda war with ISIS.
Yeah, they're good on social media, so watch how you cover it.
If we're just nice to them, then, we can all be friends because we have more in common than we do that separates us, and other mindless cliches. I mean, are you kidding me? This is a media war.
But what was the media doing wrong that President Obama called them out on? You guys, we got to be careful. I'm going to need your help now.
Not cheerleading hard enough, loud enough for the administration. Considering
Republicans have their views,
considering more than 2/3 of Americans oppose his Syrian refugee program. Well, here's some Democrats. Forget those right-wing xenophobes. Here's some Democrats talking about ISIS, a little bit more grounded. No mention of the media. Let's start with Leon Panetta. President Obama's defense secretary and CIA director.
That's the right mission, but I think that the resources applied to that mission, frankly, have not been sufficient to confront that. And for that reason, I think we've got to be much more aggressive and much more unified in the effort to take on ISIS.
I disagree with Leon Panetta on a lot of matters, but at least he's an adult and he has specifics. He is not going to give a speech and then assume that things just magically happen. You dispatch the herd of unicorns, and it all comes together because I said it should come together this way. Leon Panetta says there's two things that should be happening that are not happening currently as part of a strategic rethinking of the approach in the war against ISIS.
Then we're going to have to take some very specific steps here. One is to unify this effort. As Richard Engel pointed out, this effort is not coordinated. People are not working together. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing on different targets. We need to unify the command. We need to set a joint command center where all of these countries are together on their objectives. And secondly, we need to increase our effort there. We need to increase the tempo of our airstrikes. We need to organize ground forces, particularly the Sunnis and the Kurds, and arm them so that they can take territory back from ISIS. And frankly, we need to increase special forces and our intelligence advisors, not only to guide these forces, but to go with them in order to ensure that we are successful in this effort.
Now, that's a plan. That's something I can embrace. I can wrap my head around that.
It's interesting that what Panetta said about that this is not coordinated. Countries aren't
No,
working
I
together.
didn't
Everybody's
know that.
doing their own thing.
Yeah.
This is what happens when America leads from behind.
I think that, and so I think what the United States can do is to. There's been. I am so
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. And if you want to text us at 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment. Here's a comment on your weather forecast for back to work Monday. Not as cold with times of clouds and sun. A high of 36 degrees, so that's a little bit better than yesterday. And then tomorrow, partly sunny, a little bit warmer, a high near 40 degrees. Let's say good morning to Dominic Fortini, who's in for Jim Telemonte. Good morning, Dominic.
Good morning. Roads pretty quiet still. Edens and Kennedy rolling well. 20 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 10 in from the junction. Eisenhower and Stevenson getting the thumbs up as well. Inbound Ryan at 15 minutes. 95th into downtown. Illinois toll roads also incident-free this morning. Traffic answers when you need the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
The gospel truth about it is that the thing I'm most excited about is that after having my gallbladder out 3 years ago, I had constant pain in my side that was something that they couldn't attribute to anything other than probably a poor diet. Since I've been on these supplements, it is really making a difference in my life. I feel better. I have no pain.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
This is a public announcement to all vermin, to all rats, mice, bats, squirrels, and raccoons. If you've just made yourself at home in someone else's home, you'd better hope the owners never hear about Terminix, because Terminix has the know-how and the means to do whatever it takes to remove you from that home permanently. Terminix is the most trusted, most effective pest exterminating company in the country, and right now they're making it easier than ever for homes to be protected by offering free pest controlling information and a guaranteed solution to every caller at 1-800-922-7545. Rats, mice, and other vermin. This is your eviction notice. With one call, Terminix will remove you from the home you've invaded. If you think you can simply come back later, think again. Terminix will seal off that home from roof to basement so you can never return. Limitations may apply. Warning. Homeowners are calling Terminix right now for free pest controlling information and a guaranteed solution at 1-800-922-7545. 1-800-922-7545.
For missing teeth, dental implants are wonderful.
wonderful. The advantages are fantastic. They really are just like your original ones. What you probably don't know is that not all implants are the same quality, and there are a lot of unqualified people doing implants.
This is Brian DeWolf. I have 2 implants from Fox River Periodontics. I had one, I was happy with it, so I had another one done, and I love them. The idea of dentures didn't appeal to me at all. I didn't want that appliance in my mouth. These implants are wonderful. They're just like your real teeth, and they're probably even better because there's no nerve attached to them, so there's no pain, and they'll last forever. Dr. Neruzzi is great, and his staff is wonderful, and I trust him completely. If you're looking for dental implants, or considering dental implants for a missing tooth or for a whole mouthful, talk to Dr. Neruzzi. You'll be happy you did, and Fox River Periodontics.
Just remember, implantsforme.com. Implantsforme.com.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Crazy.
Dan and Amy talking ISIS. Heard from Leon Panetta. Let's listen to Senator Di-Fi. Hardly a right-wing xenophobe for Amy's Obama bot lady friends, who shall remain anonymous.
So told me to send you a message, but we'll talk about that
good.
later.
I can't wait.
Yeah, they got a message for you, Dan Proft.
Tell them to deliver it personally. I'm Ted Cruzing them. Come say it to my face. Di-Fi. Senator Dianne Feinstein on the Sunday Talkies this weekend. Here's what this crazy right-winger had to say about the administration's strategy on ISIS.
I don't think the approach is sufficient to the job. I think there are general principles, and there are general principles in terms of the administration strategy, too. But I'm concerned that we don't have the time, and we don't have years. We need to be aggressive now, because ISIL is a quasi-state. ISIL has 30,000 fighters. It's got a civil infrastructure. It's got funding. It's spreading in other countries. And it's a big, big problem. And now what you see, I think, in other places is a competition developing from other terrorist organizations. But ISIL is something apart. It's enormously strong, and it has to be dealt with in a very strong manner.
And the competition she refers to includes that attack in Mali last week, which reportedly was masterminded.
By Al-Qaeda.
Right, Al-Qaeda in Algeria, Al-Qaeda leader in Algeria. Also, and there's some response, by the way, it's worth noting, again, because we seem to forget these things, in France, 3-month state of emergency, which is something approximating martial law. Okay, that happened.
In Belgium, complete lockdown. Schools locked down, their transportation system locked down, and they're telling American citizens, if you're there, stay inside.
Right. Brussels on lockdown. You saw the images this week of tanks rolling through streets of Brussels, and 22 raids and 16 arrests have been affected in Belgium, and more are planned, according to Belgian officials.
Yeah, because they need to find Salah, who's the one survivor, the one gunman who got away, and his brothers live in Brussels in that neighborhood. His mom was there. His mom's the one that came out and said that they were depressed.
Yes.
Remember? And then his brother has been coming forward. He spoke to CNN and ABC News saying, urging his brother to turn himself in.
A couple other notes. The hacker collective Anonymous, these are the guys that wear the Guy Fawkes masks and when they shoot the videos.
You were that for Halloween, right?
I may or may not be part of that hacker collective. They released a video suggesting that ISIS was planning to launch attacks in the U.S., Paris, Indonesia, Italy, and Lebanon yesterday. This was according to information that they had picked up by, hacking, whatever they're hacking. So it's interesting. They had announced that they're going to target ISIS with their hacking efforts, not because they're necessarily a fan of the U.S. government, but because they're a bigger non-fan of ISIS.
And they want to save lives.
Yeah, of course, this didn't occur, but it's just interesting. Again, life imitating the show Homeland. Relying on hackers to get information that maybe intelligence agencies for some of our Western nations are not so good at getting. And by the way, the French have essentially announced and said massive intelligence failure. They didn't even realize that Aboud's cousin lived in Paris until days after the attack, just for example. So just in terms of that, one other housekeeping item. This I really enjoy. You know how it's just right-wing xenophobes that want to press the pause button on Syrian refugees? You know who was a right-wing xenophobe not so long ago?
Who?
President Obama. In 2011, the Obama administration stopped processing Iraqi refugee requests for 6 months. This was after that Bowling Green FBI investigation where al-Qaeda-linked terrorists were discovered as having emigrated to this country in refugee status. Evidence taken from that they had been constructing IEDs and so on and so forth. The terrorists were taken into custody in 2011. These al-Qaeda operatives that were in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Terrorists taken into custody in 2011. Shortly thereafter, the U.S. State Department stopped processing refugee requests from Iraq for 6 months in order to review and revamp security screening procedures. Huh.
Oh, and
how about that? How
and
about
if
them
we
apples?
have a second, yesterday, President Obama, he said, if we're prejudiced, collectively as American citizens, if we're prejudiced against ISIS, then they win.
We will not give in to fear or start turning on each other or treating some people differently because of religion or race or background. That wouldn't just be a betrayal of our values, it would also feed ISIL's propaganda.
Who's saying that we should do anything of the sort?
I mean, he's claiming Republican governors are trying to do.
I know. He instead of focusing on the rhetoric between Republican presidential candidates and himself, why don't you focus on your job at hand? There's a concept. Phil on the Northwest side.
He needs the media's help.
Yeah.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. You know, as if he hasn't been commander-in-chief and in charge of our military for all these years. We should have did this years ago. But, you know, it's a funny thing. We're going to let everybody in. We're going to unify everyone now that they've lost their base. And he's going to protect himself to get everybody to go after ISIS when they're threatening him and threatening Washington now. Last week, we weren't going after them. Now they threaten Washington, and we're going after them. It's amazing.
Thanks, Phil.
Well, isn't that special?
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
A little preventive maintenance before the holiday season could save you thousands of dollars and a lot of heartache.
Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal. The holidays are tough on your sewer lines. Overuse of garbage disposals and paper products, in addition to grease buildup, can clog your sewer line. And a clogged sewer line can result in raw sewage backing up into your home. You'll want to avoid that unpleasant surprise when your family comes to visit. Permaseal has a simple solution to help you prevent this disgusting problem. Call 800-421-SEAL by November 30th and pay only $199 for your sewer rotting service. A certified Permaseal technician will rod your main sewer line and eliminate any blockages. For over 36 years, our mission has been to provide a superior customer experience and the greatest value. Call 800-421-SEAL. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 800-421-SEAL or visit permaseal.net.
Restrictions apply. See your Permaseal representative for further details.
If you're aged 59 and a half or older with a 401k plan and still working, stop what you're doing and call Arlington Capital Management at 855-471-5796. They'll help you actively manage your 401k, show you strategies to avoid major declines, and capitalize on opportunities. There are benefits with age, and this is one of them. At 59 and a half, you're entitled to new opportunities in the investment world that can dramatically improve your results and even lower your fees. Call 855-471-5796 now and take the first step toward getting more out of your retirement assets. The team at Arlington Capital Management proactively explores the market, our economy, and all of the variables that offset your investments. Call 855-471-5796 now for a complimentary consultation. That's 855-471-5796 or visit arlington-capital.com. You worked hard to accumulate your nest egg. Now, it's time to put your money to work for you.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, the releasing of the Laquan McDonald tape. This is going to be a contentious week, and I think Chicago is going to become the next Ferguson, Missouri.
1871 all over again, maybe, huh? What do you think? And what happens when you have a terrible Republican statewide candidate? Perhaps a cautionary tale for Illinois at 5:45.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. 28 degrees and cloudy skies. An intense manhunt in Brussels continues for Salah Abdel Salam, fugitive since being named a suspect in the November 13 Paris attacks. Belgian police carried out raids through that lockdown capital, which is under high alert for more possible terror attacks in Europe, specifically in that capital and NATO center.
In total, 16 persons were arrested. The investigating judge will decide tomorrow about their possible further detention.
One person was wounded and arrested after police fired on a car in Brussels, which approached them. The driver escaped, but was later stopped in the city. British Prime Minister David Cameron and French President François Hollande meeting in Paris, paying a quiet visit to the Bataclan concert venue, which saw the worst of the carnage during the Paris attacks.
We must share information and intelligence to better protect ourselves from these brutal terrorists. The UK and France are already doing this, but today we've agreed to step up our efforts even further and to work more closely with our European neighbours.
Cameron says he'll ask for parliamentary approval for the UK to join airstrikes against ISIS terrorists in Syria. Republican presidential candidate Marco Rubio backs a bill to pause the flow of Syrian refugees to America, passed by his colleagues in the House.
We can't allow anyone in this country that we can't vet. And I believe that the vast majority of refugees that are trying to come here are people we will not be able to vet.
On Fox News Sunday, the Florida senator did allow for some exceptions. Northern separatist groups in Mali say an assault on a luxury hotel in that capital, Bamako, killed 19, was a clear attempt to derail a fragile peace process meant to stabilize that country's volatile north. 16 are wounded after gunfire erupts Sunday night at a block party and music video shoot in New Orleans' Lower Ninth Ward. New Orleans Police Superintendent Michael Harrison.
We believe they were part of a fight between two groups that were probably in this area. We have some witness account, but what we need more than anything else is for witnesses to come forward to tell us what they saw.
Police say as many as 500 could have been in the park when that shooting began. Chicago Teachers Union planning a rally tonight at Grant Park. Chicago fire officials say it was a candle that sparked a weekend blaze at the John Hancock Center. And there's a little trouble this morning between the University of Wisconsin and Northwestern University. As UW-Madison police report, 100 fans were ejected from Saturday's Big Ten football game against Northwestern at Camp Randall Stadium. Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reporting fans, some Northwestern fans, most Wisconsin fans, were throwing snowballs and ice at each other and onto the field as the season's first big snow hit Madison. Again, it was actually more like 110 fans ejected, 50 for throwing snow and ice. And the Badgers did lose to the Wildcats, 13-7. Professionally, Denver over the Bears, 17-15. And Kyle Busch opened the Sprint Cup season in a hospital bed, ends it with a championship trophy with a win yesterday. The news, a service of Lead Safe America. More than 1 in 3 American kids has lead in their blood. No level of safe is involved with lead poisoning. It causes learning disabilities and behavioral disorders. Has your child been tested? Learn more at leadsafeamerica.org. Check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher believes college campuses are in trouble.
What's happened at the University of Missouri? I'm dumbfounded by the resignation of the president of this school. They're going to use your resignation and now hold college presidents and administrators and chancellors hostage if they don't get their way. America's college campuses are headed for such trouble right now.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
You are a sign business, you want to grow, and you want to make more money. So do I. I want to partner with you. This is Dave Carlson, and my sign company is Franco Carlson & Company. We've been doing business in Chicago since 1894. With millions of dollars of state-of-the-art equipment, we can do any job. Trade shows, bus and vehicle wraps, banners for special events, even custom wallpaper. We can help you expand your sign business. If there is an order, any order, or a piece of business that you don't have the capabilities to do yourself, we can do it with you. You don't have to turn away any sign or print business any longer. Speed and quality to meet your deadlines. You have my word on that. Expand your sign business. Take any order. Make more money. Become a partner with Franco Carlson and Company. Contact me for a quote or stop by for a tour of our shop. Franco Carlson and Company. We are the sign company's partner.
Call Franco Carlson and Company at 773-847-6900. 773-847-6900.
5:36. Let's get an update on the roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. In for Jim this morning, here's Dominic Fortini.
Westbound 80, watch for a crash in the ramp to southbound Chicago involving 2 cars and a semi. Also seeing some pretty thick delays developing on the outbound side of the Eisenhower. Solid Austin into First Avenue because of an earlier crash, a half hour already from the post office to Manheim. 43 into Thorndale inbound Stevenson begins to slow at Pulaski, but everything else still in decent shape. Traffic is a service of InterstateBatteries.com. At Interstate Batteries, they make some of the longest-lasting car batteries in the business, and they sell these long-lasting batteries at an even longer list of locations. Interstate Batteries are sold in over 100,000 locally owned locations across the nation. Find a dealer near you at InterstateBatteries.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Not as cold today. Clouds and sun will be mixed. High 36. 26 at O'Hare, 21 this morning in Aurora. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Tom Mirabali Insurance. Find out more about a health savings account PPO. Call Tom at 630-863-3477.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, good morning. A couple of questions about the Laquan McDonald video. This is the video that shall be released by the end of Wednesday.
May I suggest 11:59 a.m. on Tuesday?
11:59
p.m.
p.m. on Wednesday.
Yes, on Wednesday.
Yes, right into Thanksgiving. This is the video that relates to the shooting and killing of a black teenager named Laquan McDonald by a Chicago police officer. McDonald was apparently, according to police, it was in a trucking yard. Breaking into vehicles when the confrontation occurred.
Yeah, he's 17 years old. He's had a little bit of a record for minor robberies, but he had a knife in his hand.
A little bit of a record.
Yes, he had a knife in his hand. He was in this trucking yard, and the 2 officers jumped out of the SUV with their guns drawn. The video shows McDonald can be seen continuing to walk west on Pulaski. There was a lane of traffic separating him from the officers, and one of the officers began shooting from about 12 to 15 away from McDonald. But
12 to
15 feet away from McDonald, and he was shot in the back 16 times, somehow spun around, fell down, and the officer allegedly then stood over his body and pumped him full of more bullets while he was already down and probably dead.
So this happened more than a year ago. The officer's been on desk duty for more than a year while the investigation has been ongoing.
Desk duty.
And importantly, the city settled this case, the wrongful death case, for $5 million straight away. I don't know why it's taken so long to conclude this investigation in with respect to this officer's conduct. But
Cook County State's Attorney Anita Alvarez says charges will be decided by the end of this week. Nice timing. The video is going to be released to the public, and now she's going to decide if he'll be charged. But look at nothing
Walter, political there.
Yeah, nothing at all. But look at the Walter Scott video, the guy in South Carolina who was seen, and that went viral. Everybody in the world saw it. That police officer in jail, charged with first-degree murder. Once we see this tape,
and that happened rather quickly. And as I recall, in part because I think justice was meted out rather quickly
because of the tape.
There were but the important thing was the community reaction. That's what I was going for. What was the community reaction in North Charleston? There was not rioting. There was not violence because officials in charge reviewed the evidence, made a determination, and did the best they could with this imperfect justice system we have to effect justice in that case.
But in this case, the city has gone at such great lengths, Dan, to keep the video private, to not let it be released publicly.
That is correct.
Laquan's parents, they came out and said, we do not want this video released. I do not see, his mom came out and said, I do not need to see this video again of my son being murdered. Murdered, and she used the word murdered by a white Chicago police officer.
So there's two questions here. And the city fighting the release of this video is an important point we'll get to in a second. But two questions. One is, should the video be released, in your opinion? And the second question is, what do you expect the reaction is going to be when a video, as Amy described, is released? 312-642-5600 is the turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA is the turnkey.pro text line. Number one, the video should absolutely be released, and the city should have never fought it, because the public's right to know trumps and supersedes concern over what the public's reaction is going to be. The dash cam video is a public record, the same way that a police report or a mugshot is a public record. So for, again, the most transparent administration in the history of the city of Chicago, much like his former boss, the most transparent administration in the history of our country, for them to fight the release of the video while they've settled a $5 million wrongful death suit, while this year-long investigation has gone on into this officer's conduct on that night, says something about the Rahm Emanuel administration, and also says something about all of those who supported him. You get the representation you deserve.
Well, one of the caller who made the 911 call, the person who made the 911 call had told police and the dispatcher that Laquan was breaking into the trucking yard and that he was armed with a knife and had threatened him, and also punctured a tire of a police vehicle that was following him, and he struck the vehicle's windshield with some object. So in their defense, that's what they were saying. He was violent and he had PCP in his system.
Over the weekend, 200 men of the African American fraternity Alpha Phi Alpha, along with which included pastors and elected officials, came together. This was on Saturday. Kind of held hands and made a show of a call for peace, regardless of how incendiary that video is. Here's a state representative, LG Sims, explaining what they're trying to do and what they hope will occur.
As incendiary as this video may be, and we've all heard the rumors of how incendiary it may be, remain calm. Don't incite violence in our community. Don't exact violence on our community. But let's use that energy into a positive way.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the message. I don't know how it will be heard. It will be interesting to see how it will be heard. What do you think is going to happen?
We're going to be the next Ferguson, Missouri.
You think that's what's going to happen?
I think cars are going to be flipped over, set on fire. Buildings are going to be, businesses are going to be looted, and people are going to get arrested. It's just going to be a hot mess here on Thanksgiving. Everyone who thought they're going to be at home, all the police officers who thought they're going to be at home with their families on Thanksgiving, no. You're going to be on the south side of Chicago trying to stop rioters. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that the rioters, in training, listened to people like Roosevelt Watkins, the pastor for United for Change.
We want people to see the positive professional males that are in our communities.
But I don't have faith that that's going to happen. This is when we need maybe Spike Lee, Father Flair, all those people to come forward and
do what?
And just tell people.
And rile everything up more?
No, stay home. That's what they're doing last night in front of the premier of Chirac. They were telling people to stay home.
Do you think anybody's going to listen to Jesse Jackson Sr. or Flager? They're jokes. Those two are jokes.
So
These are the same jokes that have been having midnight vigils and spending all their time worrying about taking guns away from the law-abiding for 30 years while the blood on the streets of Chicago has flowed uninterrupted. They are scam artists. They're embarrassments, the two of them.
But they don't want people to riot.
Well, neither do I. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll change my. I was going to go to Wheaton for Thanksgiving, but
maybe you'll go to Inglewood.
I could, I could pick up some stuff if there's going to be looting. Just, join in the zeitgeist.
312-642-5600. I don't think I'm over exaggerating because I know somebody who watched this video who said it's going to be bad. And the timing of the release of this video, I hope, is after the CPS closed down for the Thanksgiving weekend. And again, at midnight, right before, Wednesday into Thursday.
I have a question. From what we know, you probably follow this more closely than I did. Do we know if Laquan McDonald, was he just carrying a knife or was he brandishing the knife at the officer?
According to the man who called 911, he said that he was in the trucking yard. He was vandalizing cars. He had a knife and he had threatened the man with the knife.
He had threatened
then
the
two cops,
officer.
No,
Oh,
the
he
man who
threatened
called
I
911.
gotcha.
And then the two officers rolled up, and some verbiage was exchanged. I don't know exactly what happened, but for somehow reason he got close to the police vehicle and punctured that tire of the police vehicle, and then threw something at the police vehicle's windshield.
Okay, so
then the
there
officers,
was
then he turned around and walked away, and then they told him to stop, and they shot him.
so there was a confrontation. He must have been using something. He didn't. I assume he didn't puncture the tire with his finger, so the knife must have been out. That's kind of an important point, but it does sound like this video is going to be disturbing. Philip in Blue Island, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Wow, the more I listen, the madder I get as a black man being on the South Side to be stereotyped in such a way. But regardless of that, everything that's going on has been a cover-up. From the first shooting the guy in the back, a 17-year-old, must be out of his mind. It would never happen to a white kid. Second of all, it takes a year. I mean, I don't know what the climate was. Was it the mayor running for office or to cover this tape up?
Good question.
And the third thing is to hold it for a year, and the guy's on desk duty to get shot 16 times, and then because it's happening over and over and over. And then when we say Black Lives Matter, we're not saying white lives don't matter or other lives don't matter. But at this point, we have to put the emphasis on Black Lives Mattering, because if you look at black-on-black crime, we need to look at that. You look at police crime, shooting a 17-year-old in the back 16-plus times. It's just out of control. And then Amy is like, oh, they're going to riot, they're going to do this. No, but you all, not you all, but I'm just saying the media. I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm just one individual. But you out there, they're going to do this and they're going to do. You have no idea what's going to happen in the black community. You don't even come to the black community, first of all.
Well, I was there for 12 years. And I still often go to the black community. No, I covered crime in the black community. I was always there.
Why is the black community a location? Black people live everywhere.
That's true.
I like this black community stuff. Go to the black community. A guy on my floor is black, so I just need to walk a couple doors down to go to the black community. I mean, come on, this language we use.
It's specifically to the South Side. Why? Oh, the South Side. Why does he got to say the South Side? Because it's specifically, that's where a lot of black people live.
This is where this accident happened, or the shooting. But just you guys, real quick, thank you so much for your phone call.
Philip.
The officer claimed that he feared for his life, and according to the police union, that McDonald lunged at the officer with a knife, but that wasn't seen on the video. That's the problem.
Well,
maybe he did before. That's the thing. He says one thing, but the video proves otherwise. And there were 5 officers on the scene, and he was the only one who got out his gun and started shooting.
Well, we don't know what the video proves. I mean, so let's just pull back until we see the video and that we understand everything that may not be on the video. So that's part of it too, is really understanding.
That's what the police union said.
Yeah, understanding what happened that night. Maybe that's why this has taken so long, although it seems like a long time to investigate a high-profile case like this and come to some kind of resolution. And I think Philip's question about the timing of this, could it have anything to do with the mayor's reelection? Great question, and I think we all know the answer.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
More of your phone calls coming up. 312-642-5600 is the number. Here are the numbers in the weather department. 29 degrees right now. Ouch. Going up to a high of 36 degrees, but we will have some sun, some clouds, and then tomorrow, partly sunny skies, a little bit warmer, a high near 40. Let's get the travel times on this Back to Work Monday and say hi to Dominic Fortini, who's in for Jim Telemonte.
Traffic numbers still in a positive manner, although on the outbound side of the Ike, we've got a crash now blocking 2 left lanes just before First Avenue, slowing things back to Austin. 36 minutes from the post office to Manheim, 49 to Thorndale. Also some gapers on the inbound side as brake lights are coming on. Manheim to First Avenue. Everything else still developing delays, but looking okay. Traffic answers when you need them most I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Imagine what you would do if your business had a surplus of utility savings. More than 30% of your building's annual energy use comes from your heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading mechanical service provider, understands that you have better things to do with your money. There are new energy incentives offered by Chicagoland's largest utility provider that could help your business save hundreds, even thousands of dollars every month in utility costs. As a preferred partner, Air Comfort works closely with your business. They will identify the opportunities to reduce energy usage, select, purchase, and install equipment, and even help you complete and submit your incentive paperwork. Start saving on your utilities by calling now for your free consultation at 708-345-1900. That's 708-345-1900 or online at aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935.
Hi, my name is Tom Marabali, and I'm an independent representative and your consumer advocate with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. I am here to guide you through all of the complex and confusing issues that are in the Affordable Care Act. The open enrollment period for clients under the age of 65 starts on November 1st and ends January 31st, 2016. And the open enrollment for clients age 65 and older starts on October 15th and ends December 7th, 2015. So no matter what your age or the status of your current health is, I can obtain you a major medical, Medicare Advantage, prescription drug plan, or a standard Medicare supplement plan for anyone in the 6-county area. So if you should miss this year's open enrollment, I can also obtain a major medical for you at any time during the calendar year. I also have special enrollment provisions for people who have recently moved, recently divorced, or added a child. So for a free consultation, call me at 630-863-3477, 630-863-3477. I'm available 7 days a week for your convenience.
This is Dan Proft with an Upstream idea, brought to you in part by the Illinois Policy Institute. 97. That's the percentage of Chicago Teachers Union members who voted yes in a recent mock vote. Yes, they voted. They are prepared to go out on strike for the second time in 4 years. The annual average CPS teacher salary is just under $80,000. And that's before you include their health insurance benefits and guaranteed 7-figure pensions. The bankrupt, junk-rated Chicago public schools spend more than $15,000 annually per pupil, and yet 75% of 4th and 8th graders are neither proficient in reading nor math. This in a system of nearly 400,000 students. So who's the bad guy here? Is it the teachers union or the mayor's office? Yes, there are no white hats in the story of central planners from City Hall fighting with the central planners from the teachers union over who gets to be the lead central planner at CPS. If the teachers strike, they deserve to be unlocked from their jobs. CPS students deserve access to schools that will give them the opportunity to earn an education that sets them on a course for success in life. The only way that happens is if the adults inside CPS, the parents, and the adults outside CPS, state political leaders, change the flow of money away from central planners and to families so that they may make the same choices for their children that Tiny Dancer did for his kids matriculating at the University of Chicago Lab School. For more ideas like this, visit upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
AM 560, The Answer.
Even you just said it's going to be bad.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be bad, and I'll tell you what, the fact that it's taken a year to reach some kind of resolution in this case with respect to the officer in question in the Laquan McDonald shooting, that's a problem, too. Anita Alvarez has some answering to do, as does City Hall. Let's go to Mike in Lake Geneva. Hey, Mike.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good.
Morning. I just wanted to point out, I was reading an article yesterday in the Sun-Times on this, and they had all the facts and the timelines, when it happened, and how the video was not released due to the election. But an interesting point, the $5 million offer was made with no request by the family whatsoever.
Yes, that's
5
right.
days 5 days after the election results were finalized. So as soon as he did take his office, they made the payment as quick as possible.
Thanks. I mean,
That's
I think
good-
the video
good
is
point, Mike.
going to incite unrest in Chicago. There's just
it's definitely
no other way around it, unless and I hope I'm wrong. I pray to God that I'm wrong. I don't want any violence. I don't want any cars flipped over and businesses destroyed and people getting injured. But this is going to, reintroduce us to the issue about over-aggressive police officers and abuse of power.
Well, here's the other thing it's going to reintroduce, a question of the city's leadership. More boisterous calls for Gary McCarthy to go. Maybe come 2019, which is a long way away, maybe a lot of the people who said Rahm's the best we can do will think a second time.
The holidays are just around the corner, and you want your home to feel warm and inviting so that you can create a memorable experience. Before you start decorating for the season, call Executive Green Carpet Cleaning at 708-599-5151. There's still time to have your carpet, upholstery, tile, and grout cleaned before those special dinner guests arrive. Executive Green Carpet Cleaning's process is safe for your entire family. They use their own purified water and a non-toxic solution that leaves no residue, so you can rest assured you'll have a clean carpet when the kids and grandkids exchange their gifts. Want one of the best gifts this holiday season? It's Executive Green's no-risk guarantee. If you are not 100% satisfied, you will not pay for your service. Make your home beautiful for the holidays by scheduling now at 708-599-5151. Ask about their holiday special, 3 rooms for $139. 708-599-5151 or schedule online at executivegreencarpetcleaning.com.
Comfort means a state of feeling satisfied, and at thecompanystore.com, your comfort is our #1 priority. For more than 100 years, the Company Store has handcrafted in the U.S. the very best bedding basics, unique items you won't find anywhere else, like our dual warmth comforters that keep you and your partner sleeping at just the right temperature. Bring comfort home today. Thecompanystore.com, 20% off your entire order plus free shipping with code RADIO at checkout. Thecompanystore.com. We are all about comfort.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-519-7796. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-519-7796.
Don't miss the Chicago Bar Association's 92nd annual satirical musical, A Christmas Quarrel, a tale of two parties. A cast of talented lawyers parodies current news and pop culture from Hillary to Trump, all to the music of your favorite show tunes and pop hits. This show is for everyone. You'll laugh out loud at this toe-tapping, finger-snapping, hand-clapping good time. A Christmas Quarrel runs at DePaul's Merle Reskin Theater, evenings Wednesday, December 2nd through Saturday the 5th, and a matinee Sunday the 7th. For times and tickets, visit barshow.org. Treat your company, your clients, or go with your friends for a hilarious night out. Order your Bar Show tickets today. Call 312-554-2134 or order online at barshow.org. That's barshow.org. Tickets also available at the Reskin Theater box office. A funny Trump joke was supposed to go here, but it was removed by the censors for obvious reasons. The door opens at Midlothian Music. And just like that, you're a customer for life. With their huge inventory of hundreds of guitars, drum kits, and string instruments, they've got you covered. Midlothian Music, the largest American-made selection of handcrafted, name-brand instruments, lessons for every level of musician, and free lifetime in-house repair and service. Midlothian Music. After 54 years of success, they live and breathe music. Whether a beginner or a pro, Midlothian Music has the right equipment at the right price to make you a true rock star in your band or in your band. Talk to the pros in person 7 days a week. Midlothian Music, 708-403-3733 or visit midlothianmusic.com. That's midlothianmusic.com.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer. We will talk about Donald Trump and a new controversy. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
A CTU rally planned for tonight in Grant Park. WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Britain could soon do more to fight ISIS.
The United Kingdom will do all in our power to support our friend and ally France to defeat this evil death cult.
Prime Minister David Cameron in Paris saying he'll go to Parliament this week to get approval for British warplanes to expand Iraq airstrikes over to Syria. This as Brussels is on lockdown amid terror raids. Fox's Simon Owen live in our European bureau.
Dave, for a third day, the Brussels subway network is closed. Also schools, with the city under a maximum terror alert. There were at least 19 raids in Brussels Sunday as police hunt a local man thought to be one of the attackers who hit Paris. But prosecutors saying despite 21 arrests,
Salah Abdeslam is not among the persons arrested during the searches.
Also saying the raids didn't turn up any firearms or explosives. Dave?
Simon, the New York City subway was a training ground for police conducting a terror drill. Fox's Tanya J. Powers details this live from New York.
The abandoned subway station in Lower Manhattan was the backdrop for hundreds of emergency responders in the simulated terror attack. It was a chance to test technologies like GoPro-like cameras and acoustic gunshot detection systems. Director of Homeland Security Jay Johnson joined NYPD Commissioner William Bratton for the exercise. He stressed it was just a drill.
We have no specific credible intelligence about a threat of the Paris type directed at the homeland here.
Johnson was on Meet the Press on NBC yesterday. Dave?
Tanya, 16 people are injured in New Orleans when this happened during a block party and music video shoot last night.
There were multiple people firing at each other and into this crowd.
Police Superintendent Michael Harrison says those gunmen fled. He's asking the public to help find them. This is good for a lot of Americans getting ready to drive somewhere for Thanksgiving. Gas is 11 cents cheaper the last 2 weeks.
It's crude oil that brought this crash, dropping a few dollars per barrel, and it's already at the pump.
And the Triple Lundberg survey of stations has regular $2.14 a gallon. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
28 degrees, winds out of the south at 10, giving us a wind chill of 18 above this morning. 6:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. Chicago Teachers Union planning a rally tonight in Grant Park. The event comes at a time when about 5,000 teachers could be laid off before year's end. Chicago fire officials say a burning candle was what sparked a weekend blaze at the John Hancock Center. It started Saturday afternoon in the bedroom of a 50th floor apartment in that high-rise. Chicago police are searching for 2 male subjects accused of robbing a Northside motel. Police say the culprits got away with cash and an iPad from the Diplomat Hotel in the 5200 block of North Lincoln. A Kenosha County homicide suspect who eluded capture for nearly 2 weeks has pleaded not guilty to the 32 charges he faces connected with the case. 36-year-old Andrew Obregon of Bristol pleaded not guilty to charges including fleeing an officer. Obregon is accused of killing 37-year-old Taiwan Anderson of Kenosha. He then went on the run into the state of Illinois. He was caught here, finally extradited from Illinois to Wisconsin a little earlier this month. The number of Illinois inmates released on parole has increased as the lawmakers look to reduce prison population. But funding to help parolees stay out of trouble has dropped dramatically because of the state budget crisis. Without a budget, Illinois spent about $418,000 since July 1st. Last fiscal year, the state spent about $67 million on parolees. Chicago sports, Denver beat the Bears 17-15. College baskets, Towson over Bradley 62-60. The news service of Unbound. Poverty doesn't discriminate. It feeds on the forgotten. At Unbound, they believe in the collective wisdom of society's oldest and most vulnerable members. Providing sponsorship for the elderly is just one way Unbound is different. Learn more at unbound.org. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
At this time of fear and uncertainty across the world, Americans are turning to their president for leadership and assurance. What? He said what?
What I'm not interested in doing is posing or pursuing some notion of American leadership or America winning or whatever other slogans they come up with.
Wow. Okay, so keep listening to find out what President Obama says next. Right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Are you living with prostate enlargement? Do you pee more often than you used to? Do you wake up to go? Be honest. Is there a drop in your romantic life? Prostate problems don't go away on their own, so you need to call for a free bottle of Super Beta Prostate, the #1 non-prescription formula for your prostate. The ingredients are natural. With Super Beta Prostate, you'll have less urges to urinate, less waking at night, and an improvement in your romantic life, guaranteed. Try it for free. Pay only shipping and handling. Just call 1-800-317-7593. Super Beta Prostate is so powerful, you'd have to take 100 saw palmetto capsules to get the same active ingredient in just one Super Beta Prostate tablet. Stop running to the bathroom and call us now for your free bottle. Hurry, this free offer won't last. Just call 1-800-317-7593. That's 1-800-317-7593. 1-800-317-7593.
6:05. Let's get an update on the roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. In for Jim, here's Dominic Fortini.
In the northwest burbs, watch for an overturned vehicle on the eastbound Palatine frontage road before you enter onto southbound Route 53. Also in Naperville, 95th at Book Road closed because of an early morning crash. Inbound Kennedy, starting to see some delays right near Harlem. 21 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 11 in from the junction. Outbound Ike, looks like crews took care of that earlier crash near First Avenue, but damage done. 33 minutes from the post office to Manheim, 46 to Thorndale. Inbound Ike, 33 minutes from Thorndale in. Inbound Ryan starting to get a little tight near 35th, 26 minutes from 95th into downtown. Traffic's a service of UPSjobs.com. Now seeking part-time package handlers in Northbrook and Palatine, offering competitive pay and benefits, including up to $25,000 in educational assistance. UPS actively promotes from within. Apply today at UPSjobs.com/radio. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, not as cold with a full day of sunshine. High 36. Tonight, partly cloudy and cold with a low 22. Then tomorrow, partly sunny with a high 38 and a moonlit sky at night with a low of 30. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
26 at O'Hare, 30 along the lakefront, 21 this morning in Aurora. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Revealed with Randy Barcella. Heard each and every Sunday at 8 a.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
The man that was I don't know, you say roughed up, he was so obnoxious and so loud. He was screaming, and this was a very obnoxious guy who was a troublemaker who was looking to make trouble.
You had a different kind of shooter there in Paris. They spent some time somewhere where they got actual training.
ISIL is something apart. It's enormously strong, and it has to be dealt with in a very strong manner.
We will not give in to fear or start turning on each other or treating some people differently because of religion or race or background.
There is no doubt we would need to vet anyone coming in, but there is no indication of Muslims pretending to be Christians coming in the refugee wave.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. What is up, Dan and Amy? And Amy, I note with disappointment, I still do not see a Make America Great hat on your head.
I want you to know that they charged my credit card, and now I'm on their email blast, so I get emails from this company that I ordered the hat from every day, but still no hat.
I think an inquiry.
Still I wait.
I think an inquiry is called for, especially because
I'll put that on my list of things to do.
Well, I mean,
besides homework and projects we have to get done, and laundry and dinner and all that. Yeah.
I saw Peyton and Eli's report cards. They don't need your help. They're doing
yes,
fine.
They do. No, they do.
Of course. But no, I say that because, and I say an inquiry is.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Right.
We're going to be valedictorians before I'm done with this.
Yes.
They're my little projects.
Modern day Lombardi, you are. But I say an inquiry is called for with respect to where your Make America Great Trump hat is. Because if there's one thing Trump said he's good at, it's management. You know, the databases for people. It just takes good management. So effectively, someone who orders a product from the campaign is put into a database and managed. So where's the hat? It shouldn't take 2 weeks.
Well, all right.
Or 3 weeks.
I'll call again, but they already have charged my credit card. and I had it being sent here as opposed to my house, which maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe somebody else is wearing my hat.
Oh, no.
There's a conspiracy theory going on.
Speaking of charging, Donald Trump returned to the lead in Iowa, according to a CBS News poll of likely Republican caucus voters in Iowa. Ted Cruz surging past Ben Carson into second place. Also, in New Hampshire, Rubio has moved into second place. Donald Trump still leading in New Hampshire. So you're starting to see a little bit more volatility as we're, within 60 days of the Iowa caucus and 10 days later, about 10 days later, the New Hampshire primary, a week later, the New Hampshire primary. So it's very interesting to see what's going on. Carson's still hanging around. There's no question about that. But there does seem to be some momentum behind Cruz and Rubio. Rubio trying to build on that momentum, releasing his first campaign ad over the weekend. And what's the topic?
Terrorism.
National security, exactly.
This is a civilizational struggle between the values of freedom and liberty and radical Islamic terror. What happened in Paris could happen here. There is no middle ground. These aren't disgruntled or disempowered people. These are radical terrorists who want to kill us because we let women drive, because we let girls go to school. I'm Marco Rubio. I approve this message because there can be no arrangement or negotiation. Either they win or we do.
Was that Bruce Hornsby on piano? Wow. Not exactly John Philip Sousa, Stars and Stripes Forever.
Yeah, it wasn't as effective as Trump's ad was. Trump's ad just
bomb the hell
scared
out
me.
of him?
Yeah, we're going to bomb the hell out of him. That's how we're going to handle him. Marco Rubio took a more diplomatic approach to defeating ISIS.
Although Rubio, he was on with Chris Wallace over the weekend, and it was interesting what he had to say. And this was repeated by others, including Leon Panetta on Meet the Press, President Obama's former CIA director and SecDef. So here's what he said. He said, look, this is going to include defeating ISIS, degrading and destroying, to borrow the president's phrase, is going to require special operations forces on the ground, more of them, but it's going to have to be those special ops forces embedded with Sunni Muslims. It's got to be Sunni Muslims that are taking back their countries from ISIS. I don't know. The question I would have, is that realistic? Is that doable? There was a good 60 Minutes piece last night about what's happening in Iraq and where there has been progress made in pushing back ISIS and trying to recapture Mosul, for example. It has been Shiite militias from Iran doing most of the heavy lifting. So this is very complicated, and it's easy to say we're going to have special operations troops, but it's going to be that, the Sunnis and the Gulf states that are going to have to do the heavy lifting. It's easy to say that. It's more difficult to get them to do that. And Leon Panetta made the point on Meet the Press that, by the way, we're not even coordinated, meaning America, not even coordinated with what our alleged coalition partners are doing. Kind of everybody's doing their own thing. There isn't a central command. There isn't a division of labor. There's kind of chaos on our side, the kind of chaos that under which ISIS thrives.
Yeah, well, then Russia came in and launched 55 different bombs, and they were killing civilians. And, the generals in charge said, what are you doing? You're killing civilians. That's not our plan. But the Russians and Putin, they don't really care what our plan is. So everyone's just kind of bombing ISIS, and there's no plan.
Well,
they're not working together to do it, and that could be a sticky wicket there. That's a problem.
There seems to be a lot of wishful thinking, mostly by the regime, talking about Russia's role, and Ash Carter saying last week, the defense secretary saying last week, if Russia essentially reorders their position on Syria, then there's the possibility we could work with them. Well, there's no interest in Russia to do that. There's an interest in Russia in propping up Assad because ISIS is not Putin's overarching priority. And after President Obama made his typical remarks in Kuala Lumpur over the weekend in Malaysia, Medvedev, the Russian prime minister, was kind of a Putin puppet, said that the rise of the Islamic State It became possible partly due to irresponsible U.S. politics, particularly as it relates to fighting and trying to depose Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Doesn't seem like Russia is so inclined to fold in with the regime as if that should come as a surprise to anyone. But this is the backdrop for a lot of discussion among Republican presidential candidates, including Donald Trump over the weekend. And there is a bit of a rush to see who can talk the toughest. And Trump was trying to wear that crown, as it were.
Well, he's so politically correct that he's never going to solve the problem. I think it's disgusting, actually. He doesn't want to talk about the problem, doesn't want to use the radical Islamic terrorist type term, doesn't want to get involved in that. I mean, it's disgusting. He was saying the other day, just before the attack in Paris, that he has ISIS contained. They're contained like hell, they're contained.
And one thing that Donald Trump did say over the weekend in his fight against ISIS, I agree with him, of bombing their oil fields that generate $40,000 a month. And remember, he had this crazy idea 2 years ago, and nobody did anything about it.
When he announced a date that we're leaving on a certain date, so the enemy just pulled back, waited for that date, and then now they do whatever they want to do. But I've been saying bomb the oil, take the oil for a long time. They just started doing that 2 years ago. You wouldn't have ISIS if they listened to me in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would go
Some
that
truth
far,
to that.
but he does have a point. And to the point about the bombings, this is interesting. U.S. military pilots reporting that the regime, the Obama administration, has blocked 75% of the intended airstrikes this year. 75%. So the left hailing Obama as a hero for 8,000 airstrikes against ISIS. You're talking about this bombing campaign, and this is the right approach, and this is a display of Obama's seriousness and commitment. Not so much. By comparison, the air campaign in the first Gulf War, 91, 100,000 airstrikes. 100,000 airstrikes in 91. The initial phase, there were 1,000 a day. The left and the regime is championing 8,000 this year. And we talked about the rules of engagement issue last week, and it picked up in pace over the weekend on some of the Sunday talk shows. For example, not striking these oil trucks, these oil convoys transporting ISIS oil to market because there may be civilian drivers. So there was a hold on those sort of strikes. Now that hold has kind of been removed, where they send leaflets or missives to say, get out of the truck because, we've got you zeroed in on a drone and we're going to blow this truck up, and then they can run or they can. And
the Russians didn't do that. The Russians just bombed them.
Well, I mean, so
and they didn't give warning, and then our American leaders over there were upset, saying, "Hey, no, we warned them first before we bomb them. That's not the way we do business." But Putin's not really looking to do business with us because he's getting payback for them bringing down his Metrojet.
Doesn't it strike you that President Obama thinks or is indifferent? I don't know. But at best, he thinks he can win this or run out the clock on his administration through rhetoric.
Mm-hmm.
He is dug in. He doesn't seem to want to adjust his strategy. He thinks ISIS is contained, to Trump's point, and, of course, the infamous statement before the Paris attacks 2 weeks ago. And there just is an unwillingness, even when you hear a chorus of voices from Democrats, like Senator Dianne Feinstein, like his former CIA director, Leon Panetta, like the 47 House Democrats who voted against his Syrian refugee program on Friday. And frankly, what has all this done? It's buoyed the electoral prospects of Donald Trump.
And he's, ABC News, Wall Street Journal had a poll out, Dan, that I wanted to tell you about. It was released this morning about who do you trust to handle terrorism. Donald Trump won by 42%. Second was Jeb Bush with 18%, then Marco Rubio, then Ben Carson, then Ted Cruz.
And
so people trust him to handle Syrian refugee crisis, immigration problem, and now terrorism.
Right, and those have moved to the top of the list of concerns because of what's been happening now. Will they remain there over the course of the next 4 or 5 or 6 months? It's impossible to say, but Trump is in a strong position with those numbers that you suggest.
And it was the first poll taken after the Paris attacks.
Yeah, and it's not going to be easy to dislodge him. It is not going to be, even when he says some of the things that he said again over the weekend. People dismiss that because they look at him as somebody that is serious, as is results-oriented, and he is providing the greatest contrast in terms of personality and approach to President Obama. And that's a pretty good political place to be in a Republican primary right now.
Trust me, they're going to pay for it.
You're listening to Chicago's
Should we do the
Morning
new-
Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up, your phone calls, and we'll discuss Donald Trump's new 9/11 controversy. 312-642-5600 is the number. And here's the numbers in your forecast. Cool today, a high of 36 degrees. We're at 29 right now. We will have some times of clouds and sun. Tonight, a low of 22 degrees. Ouch. And tomorrow, partly sunny, a little bit better, a high near 40. Let's get the travel times from Dominic Fortini.
Inbound side of the Kennedy, starting to see a few delays near Canfield. 21 minutes O'Hare to downtown. On the outbound side, some trouble getting out of the city as traffic signals flashing red at Ontario and Orleans, but 20 minutes from downtown to O'Hare. Pretty thick on the inbound Ike, 40 minutes Thorndale in. On the outbound side, looking at 44 from the post office out to Thorndale. Northbound 55, we've got a crash in the left shoulder just after Route 83, while the inbound Ryan slowing right near 35th into the Burns Circle, 26 minutes from 95th into downtown. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
It's sad but true. 1960s radicals are now your children's school teachers. Worried? Send your child to Young America's Foundation's high school conference at the Reagan Ranch. Here, your child will meet top conservative leaders and students and enjoy a life-changing tour of President Ronald Reagan's ranch. Young America's Foundation is the leading organization teaching young people about your values. Reaching young people was so important to Ronald Reagan.
We've got to do a better job of getting across that America is freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of enterprise, and freedom is special and rare. And children, if your parents haven't been teaching you what it means to be an American, let them know and nail them on it.
So what are you waiting for? Send your son or daughter to Young America's Foundation's high school conference at the Reagan Ranch. To learn more, please visit ReaganRanchConference.org. A young person in your life will thank you. Again, that's ReaganRanchConference.org. But you must act now. Seats go fast.
Homeowners, do you have low water pressure in your shower? You get scalded when someone flushes. Many people don't realize that corrosion in their pipes causes these low pressure problems, not to mention leaks and rusty water too. But now, all these problems can be solved with one simple solution. Through the process of repiping, we can replace those old corroded pipes with new, high-quality pipes. You'll have great pressure, clean, clear water, be able to take a shower and run the wash machine at the same time. I'm Jeff Butler, owner of Repipe Specialists. We've helped over 30,000 homeowners, and it only takes us 1 or 2 days to completely repipe your home with a lifetime guarantee and on approved credit for as little as $99 a month. Plus, if you sign up by the end of the month, we'll patch your walls for free. Call now for a repipe, free wall patching, a lifetime guarantee, all for as little as $99 a month. Just call 1-800-REPIPING. That's 1-800-REPIPING. 800-737-4746. 800-737-4746.
SquareTrade does not cover lost or stolen items. Savings based on 2-year iPhone plan with one claim compared to Asuri and total equipment coverage as of August 10, 2015.
Getting a new iPhone? Get this. Every 2 seconds, one of us accidentally breaks our phone. So protecting all the phones in your family is a smart idea. But if you have insurance through your wireless carrier, you're paying way too much. I'm Steve Abernethy, and I founded SquareTrade to give you a better choice. Phone insurance through your wireless carrier can cost as much as $11 a month. For a family of 4, that's $44 every month. Plus, up to a $199 deductible when you break your phone. SquareTrade family protection plans cost less than $4 a month per phone with a much lower deductible. We can save your family over $500. Whether you've got a new iPhone or any other smartphone, stop overpaying for phone insurance and protect all the phones in your family with SquareTrade instead.
Protect all the phones in your family with SquareTrade and save over $500. Visit squaretrade.com. That's squaretrade.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so
oh yeah,
Trump's
it's a new
curious
day, yeah.
9/11 recollections.
Yeah, a new day, a new controversy for the Trumpster. Here's what he said in Birmingham, Alabama.
I watched when the World Trade Center came tumbling down. And I watched in Jersey City, New Jersey, where thousands and thousands of people were cheering as that building was coming down. Thousands of people were cheering.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are disputing that this morning, yesterday as well, because
because it didn't happen.
Did it happen? Here's George Stephanopoulos.
You know, the police say that didn't happen, and all those rumors have been on the internet for some time. So did you misspeak
It did
yesterday?
happen. I saw it. It was
you
on
saw
television.
that with your own eyes?
George, it
Police
did
say it
happen.
didn't
There were
happen.
people that were cheering in the other side of New Jersey where you have large Arab populations. They were cheering as the World Trade Center came down. I know it might be not politically correct for you to talk about it, but there were people cheering as that building came down, as those buildings came down. And that tells you something. It was well covered at the time, George. Now, I know they don't like to talk about it, but it was well covered at the time. There were people over in New Jersey that were watching it, a heavy Arab population that were cheering as the buildings came down.
Now,
maybe he was confusing Jersey City for the West Bank, which is an understandable mistake. But I mean, there was in the Muslim world
countries.
Yeah, like Palestinians in the West Bank. There's footage of it. They were cheering.
Yeah.
When the Twin Towers came down. Mo Lane in Red State suggested Donald Trump. Mo Lane, not a liberal, suggests to Donald Trump, well, show me the report, show me the video.
Well, the mayor of Jersey City, which has about 15,000 Muslims, quickly tweeted that Trump's comments were false, saying we ran to help the people of New York. Trump says that he saw this stand with his own eyes on television, and he was interviewed in an article in the New York Post about where he was during 9/11, and he said that he was at his Trump Tower, at his penthouse there, and he made no mention of witnessing this alleged celebration. And in a foreword for a book titled "Where Were You on 9/11?", Trump again made no mention of this, and that he was in his apartment in the Trump Tower, and he knew what was happening because he could see downtown to the financial district. So in the two interviews that he did following 9/11, he never mentioned that Muslims were, he said thousands and thousands of cheering Arabs in New Jersey celebrated as the World Trade Center went down.
Yeah, I don't recall that. I suspect that if that was true, that I would recall it, that there would be accessible news clips and video footage of that. I suspect. I mean, in the immediate chaos, who knows what reporters were doing and the like. But yeah, based on all that other contextual information you provided, it seems like that may be a bit of an apocryphal statement on Donald Trump. But I mean, that's not. Do you think that's going to hurt him? It's going to derail him? No.
Yeah, and George Pataki tweeted out, not sure what luxury spider hole Donald Trump was hiding in on September 11th, but I saw Americans come together that day. So, other candidates are trying to chime in on this.
I think so. I rather enjoyed, so that's not one in the Trump column, but the Black Lives Matter protester thing, that was kind of interesting. Trump the strong man, Trump not just strange 9/11 recollections, but he's got a pretty aggressive enforcer posture with respect to disruptive protesters, doesn't he?
Oh, he sure does. Here he is in Birmingham with the one Black Lives Matter protester who was taken down to the ground, kicked in the face, kicked in the chest, and they were yelling racial slurs at him.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
So, yeah, they took him down, and then people don't know who hit him, though, who kicked him, if it was security or if it was one of the Trump supporters. But Donald Trump, went on Fox and Friends and basically said something worse should have happened to him.
The man that was I don't know, you say roughed up. He was so obnoxious and so loud. He was screaming. I had 10,000 people in the room yesterday, 10,000 people. And this guy started screaming by himself. And I don't know, rough up. Maybe he should have been roughed up, because it was absolutely disgusting what he was doing. This was not handled the way Bernie Sanders handled his problem, I will tell you. But I have a lot of fans, and they were not happy about it. And this was a very obnoxious guy who was a troublemaker, who was looking to make trouble.
Was he looking to make trouble? I saw him before, he was had a sign Black Lives Matter, and he was yelling that while Trump was speaking, but that doesn't mean he deserves to be thrown to the ground and kicked.
Correct. You do not respond to a protester, no matter how obnoxious, with violence, and for Donald Trump to endorse that. Boy, some interesting comments from Trump over the weekend.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Dr. David Kolbaba. You know, you can improve your health and keep it that way through progressive testing. The typical black box approach in this country of ours is nothing more, it's nothing more than letting you crash your body into some sickness or disease, and you're left searching the wreckage for that black box. And then after the fact, you're treated with risky drugs, surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation, leaving you more compromised by the treatment. With progressive testing, we can uncover an existing problem or weakness in your body even before you experience any sign or symptom. And then we'll take a more natural approach, specifically targeting the compromised organ or system, restoring your health once and for all. Over time, then we'll retest your body to verify your strategy is working. Call our Health Quest radio hotline and tell us about a specific health concern, and we'll let you know what specific progressive assessment is best for a healthier you. Call 1-800-794-1855. Remember, your road to better health doesn't have to be predicated on sickness or disease. 1-800-794-1855.
You've heard me talking about the new website, upstream-ideas.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, you're missing thoughtful expository content you won't find anywhere else. Each week, you can watch the latest episode of Against the Current, our long-form interview series with policymakers and opinion leaders. This week, Fox News Channel's national security analyst, KT McFarland. You want to check that out. You can also watch Illinois by the Numbers, our video series that breaks down Illinois one number at a time to explain what the policy challenges are, why we have them, and what we can do about them. This week's number, 97. And you can check out highlights from each Sunday's Illinois Rising program, John Tillman on Sunday from the Illinois Policy Institute. And that program tackles state and local politics and policy. At Upstream Ideas, questions are asked that don't get asked anywhere else. Points of view are heard that are not heard anywhere else. No sacred cows, no punches pulled. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up next on Chicago's Morning Answer,
mapping radical mosques in the United States. We'll have that at 6:36.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good Monday morning to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson says Americans should not have to give in to fear, despite sky-high security concerns in Europe.
Let's remember that terrorism cannot prevail if the people refuse to be terrorized.
Johnson saying yesterday in New York City at a live shooter drill by police that as the holiday season approaches, Americans are encouraged to travel. The Senate will consider a bill that would suspend the program allowing Syrian refugees into the country until there's more thorough vetting by security agencies. Republican presidential candidate and Senate member Marco Rubio.
Does common sense still apply? Of course it does. A 5-year-old orphan, a 90-year-old widow, a well-known Chaldean priest. These are obviously common sense applications, and you can clearly vet them just by common sense.
The Belgian capital city of Brussels remains on high terror alert today, a level 4 alert indicating serious and imminent threat there. Former U.S. Ambassador to Belgium Howard Gutman says he was taking in a movie this past Friday night when things changed dramatically.
By the time we had gotten out of the Hunger Games, they had turned Brussels into the Hunger Games. They were telling us stay off the streets, stay away from crowded areas. They're worried.
Police say they have at least one terrorist connected to the deadly Paris attacks at large in Brussels. British Prime Minister David Cameron pushing for better borders security and information flow in Europe.
We must share information and intelligence to better protect ourselves from these brutal terrorists. The UK and France are already doing this, but today we've agreed to step up our efforts even further and to work more closely with our European neighbours.
Speaking this morning in Paris after a meeting with French President François Hollande. New Orleans police say 16 were hurt during a shooting at a park in the Upper Ninth Ward. An Indiana teen is in jail this morning, a suspect in the murder of a pastor's pregnant wife. Indianapolis police announcing early this morning that 18-year-old Larry Taylor was arrested and charged with the murder of Amanda Blackburn. A news scare for Chipotle fans. After an outbreak of E. coli was linked to restaurants in the Northwest, a news scare has spread to 6 states, including New York, Ohio, and Minnesota. Chicago Teachers Union planning a rally tonight in Grant Park over potential teacher layoffs. And Chicago police are searching for 2 male suspects accused of a robbing at a Northside motel. It happened Saturday in the 5200 block of North Lincoln. Chicago sports, Denver beat the Bears 17-15. In the news, a service of Unbound. Poverty doesn't discriminate. It feeds on the forgotten. At Unbound, They believe in the collective wisdom of society's oldest and most vulnerable. Providing sponsorship for the elderly is just one way Unbound is different. Learn more at unbound.org. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager gives free advice to all GOP candidates.
Every candidate needs to announce, we're not running against Hillary Clinton alone. We're not running against Barack Obama alone. We're running against the left and the Democratic Party. They are ruining the United States of America. It just needs to be said over and over and over and over. You are ruining our country. You are ruining our country.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
See the Chicago Wolves this Saturday night and Sunday afternoon when they face off against San Antonio. Tickets start at just $11. For more information, visit ChicagoWolves.com. Chicago Wolves, hungry for more.
I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
They're just awesome. I keep telling people because they keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. And then my bad cholesterol was 62, now it's 52. So, and then with my blood work, the doctor said, I don't know what you're doing, but everything is just perfect.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
636 and in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. In for Jim, here's Dominic.
Starting to see delays develop a little bit thicker on the inbound Kennedy, 28 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 15 in from the junction. Some ramp restrictions on the outbound side with signals flashing red at Ontario and Orleans. Double-digit delays inbound I cost you 45 minutes from Thorndale into the post office on the outbound side. Watch for slowdowns between Costner and 25th, 46 minutes from post office to Thorndale. Traffic is a service of Target. Today is your Target 10-day deal forecast update. Pull yourself up to the table because today only kitchenware will be 20% off. This deal's so good, you'll want seconds. Get your coupon in-store or online at Target.com. Some restrictions may apply. Traffic answers when you need the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Not as cold today. Times of clouds and sunshine, and we'll top out at 36. Currently 25 at O'Hare, 20 in Aurora. And your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We're talking about Donald Trump, some of his statements that a bit difficult to assimilate, and yet what will be even more difficult to assimilate is how he will probably improve his standing in the polls because of statements like what he allegedly saw on 9/11, thousands of Arabs in Jersey City cheering, or what he said about the protester at his rally of 10,000 people that perhaps he deserved to get roughed up.
That he should have been roughed up some more, that wasn't enough. That's what I heard. That's how I interpreted it.
It's gradations of the same thing. The idea of that a response to somebody who's obnoxious is to push him down and kick him. No, I don't think we want to go there. Here's something else, though. Remember Donald Trump talking about perhaps shuttering mosques and going into mosques? Mm-hmm. I don't support that, but it doesn't mean that there's not the kernel of an issue here. A group called the Clarion Project, which is a nonprofit group that describes itself as dedicated to exposing the dangers of Islamist extremism, has mapped 83 mosques which is only 4% of the more than 2,000 mosques in the United States as of 2010, but map them throughout the 50 states. 83 they describe as centers of Islamic extremism and radicalization. By the way, just as an aside, USA Today story over the weekend, the number of mosques in the United States up 74% since 2000.
Wow.
Just worth noting. In terms of what that means for culture, I think it's part of the conversation. So the 83 mosques that the Clarion Project maps include, for example, a mosque that was located just outside Washington in Falls Church, Virginia, and it was the place of worship for 2 of the 9/11 hijackers. The mosque's present imam described the founder of the Muslim Brotherhood's teachings as the closest reflection of how Islam should be in this life. Of course, the Muslim Brotherhood is designated as a terrorist organization by our State Department, so that is worth noting. And the Muslim Brotherhood also seeks to implement Sharia-based governance globally, so that's worth noting. That's in Falls Church, Virginia. That's one example. Multiple terrorists have also come from the Islamic Society of Boston, including Al-Qaeda terrorists, including 3 Al-Qaeda terrorists. Also, another example, the Islamic Center of Tucson was basically the first cell of Al-Qaeda in the United States, according to a terrorism expert, Rita Katz. She told the Washington Post this back in 2002. At least a dozen terror-linked individuals have been tied to the Islamic Center of Tucson, according to the Clarion Project. So those are just 3 examples. There's one thing. It's one thing to say we should kind of preemptively surveil or investigate mosques as a matter of course. Don't support that because I'm a proponent of religious freedom as enshrined in our First Amendment. It's another thing to turn a blind eye and pretend that there are no pockets, 4%, not a big number, but an important number, that there are not pockets. There are not some mosques that are these centers of radicalization and should be part of law enforcement evidence gathering and scrutiny.
Yeah, and according to Donald Trump and others, after 9/11, they did do some surveillance on mosques in New York City.
But you have to surveil the mosque. I mean, trouble's coming out of the mosques, whether we like to say it or not, whether it's politically correct. I don't care about political correctness. I'm like beyond political. We have taken political correctness to a point where we can't do anything as a country anymore. So I don't care. The problems are coming out of the mosques. We have a lot of problems. They all know what's happening. You know it. I know it. They go into the mosques and they speak, and other people in the mosque, even if they're not involved, they know the good ones, they know the bad ones, they know where the problems are coming. In New York City, we used to have that, but our new mayor, who is going to go down as the worst in history, the worst in the history of New York, he is a disaster, de Blasio. He ended that whole program of the mosque. We had surveillance under Ray Kelly, and we have actually a very good police commissioner now, Bill Bratton, but he was told very strongly that we can't surveil the mosques.
So how do you legally put surveillance in on a mosque?
It's very easy, the same way that you would surveil anybody else. You put together evidence that meets the probable cause requirement, and you go get a warrant. That's all. Don't treat a mosque any differently than you would treat any other possible criminal activity. Follow the rule of law. That's how you surveil them. That's how you interdict terrorism.
Do you think you're against it, right?
I'm against what?
Surveilling the surveillance of mosques, or are you for it?
I'm for using the law to go after individuals or organizations that are engaged in criminal activity. What is so complicated about this? We follow the law to go after criminals. So if you need to surveil a mosque because you suspect criminal activity and you've put together evidence to meet a probable cause threshold, then that's what you do. Why is this complicated? It doesn't need to infringe upon religious freedom. We don't need to, proverbially throw the baby out with the bathwater. Again, the Clarion Project, 83 mosques that they've identified. Maybe they're right on 100%. Maybe they're wrong. But 83 out of more than 2,000, that's 4%. So I'm not suggesting that all mosques are hotbeds of radicalization and terrorism. But the ones that are or are in question should be pursued based on the laws that we have in place to stop bad people from doing bad things. Is that a complicated formulation?
No. It's not, but the majority of people who hear Donald Trump speak, they think that they're just going to set up some type of covert operation, some surveillance in every mosque. That's because he's so broad in his statements, Dan, that we don't know. He'll say something, but we don't know he's going to implement the plan.
Well, I agree in this area because you have people's constitutional rights at issue. You have to be very specific with your language. And Donald Trump often is not very specific with his language, but when he makes general statements like, I don't care about political correctness, there is a wide swath of Republican primary voters, including me, frankly, that cheer that statement. Every candidate should sign on to that proposition. There should be, all these, non-aggression pacts and sign this commitment and sign that commitment. You won't raise taxes. You won't. Sign a commitment that political correctness is out the window. We're going to have straight talk about what we understand to be true and what we plan to do about it. Donald Trump just doesn't have kind of the ability to speak in a textured way about complicated issues and complicated challenges, but the antipathy towards political correctness is one I share. Randy in Crown Point.
Hey, morning, guys. Listen, if you go back to the late 19th, early 20th century, there was a group called the KKK. They were kind of terrorists. They were domestic terrorists. And what did the federal government do? If there was a suspicion, Dan, following your play on it and the legal side, if there was a suspicion, the federal government went and used proper channels to go into. They went into Masonic temples. That's a religious organization. We went into churches in the South. Those are religious organizations. But again, you have to have a suspicion. Once that's there, there's a lot of avenues that can be opened up. So we have historically gone into places of worship and arrested and hauled people out and thrown them in jail that were evil people. Why can't we treat the mosque and the Muslim religion the same way? The reason why we have a sympathetic, I didn't say he was a Muslim, but a man that is sympathetic to Muslims and maybe to the Muslim ideology, which is very, very dangerous when it comes to fighting the terrorists that comes from the Muslim community.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Randy. That's right. I mean, that is right. And in terms of this whole, Obama is an Islamist or something like that, I've said before that Obama is a solipsist.
Solipsist?
You can only be sure that your own mind exists. Only he exists.
That was a new religion.
Well, it is for Obama
because you pray to your own God, which is yourself.
Correct.
There you go.
Bingo. Actually, there's a great interview he gave. I should dig it up. I think I did tweet it the other day, actually.
Oh, you did tweet it about religion when he was a state senator?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, when he was running for U.S. Senate.
I remember that.
So he sat down with Kathleen Falsani, who was the religion reporter for the Sun-Times at the time, and she asked him, this is a really important question, and it's gotten glossed over in the past decade. What's your definition of sin? And President Obama, then State Senator Obama, said anything that doesn't comport with my values. Yeah. Sin is anything that doesn't comport with my values. The Bible, according to Barack Obama, for the religion of Barack Obama. Jeff on I-90.
Hey, Dan, I got to tell you how much I've been enjoying you being to the left of anyone and being the voice of civil liberties that you've been forced into for over the last couple of weeks with Trump. I love it.
Okay. Thanks for the call, Jeff. I'm not forced into anything. That's what I believe, and I've always believed it. And many free conservatives who believe in free minds and free markets share that view, but thank you. Mike on the north side.
Morning. If you read the Sun-Times today, they list Hillary's Illinois delegates. For some reason, Amy's name was left off the list. But I wanted to point out that Bobby Rush has missed most of the last 3 years of Congress. The press has not said a word about it because his wife is allegedly sick. But his wife is listed as one of the delegates. So how could she go out campaign and push for Hillary if she's been on death's door for 3 years?
Thanks for the call, Mike. You are
making phone calls.
You are not a Hillary delegate, is that?
I am not.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike.
So it wasn't.
But Mike, I heard you were on the list.
Nice comeback.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're going to have McCarthy hearings on Hillary delegates.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
In River Forest, we've got authorities closing down Lake Street between Thatcher and First Avenue because of an earlier crash. Metro Rock Island trains running about 15 minutes behind schedule as well. Starting to see delays thicken up inbound Kennedy, 32 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 17 in from the junction. On the outbound side, brake lights from Armitage out to Sayre, and still pretty thick on the outbound side of the Ike. You're looking at 46 minutes from the post office out to Mannheim. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, Dominic, ladies go first.
That's...
You're on notice. I'm just kidding. Oh, mistakes happen. It's fun. All right, today it's going to be cold with times of some clouds and sun. A high of 36 degrees tonight, a low of 22. And tomorrow, we're going to have partly sunny skies, a little bit warmer. The high near 40 degrees. Now time for Lou Dobbs, brought to you by the Mutual Fund Store.
I'm Lou Dobbs. A $150 billion merger between Pfizer and Allergan. Economic reports and geopolitical issues all driving markets today. Those stories next.
Health Markets Insurance Agency is the DBA of InSphere Insurance Solutions Incorporated, licensed in all states. Product availability varies. Agents may be compensated on enrollment. Attention Americans eligible for Medicare. Medicare plans are changing. New plans are now available that could increase your benefits and lower how much you pay. At Health Markets, our free service can help you find the Medicare plan that's right for you without the guesswork. Even if you're currently enrolled in a Medicare plan, you may be paying more than you need to and missing out on important benefits. This year's Medicare plan changes could mean more coverage and lower costs. But enrollment is not automatic. Call Health Markets today and we'll search thousands of Medicare plans from leading insurance companies. Plans that may cost less and cover more, with lower copayments, more choices like dental and vision care, and the freedom to see the doctors you choose. Best of all, our service is free. Don't let the Medicare deadline pass. Call Health Markets and let us find the right Medicare plan for you without cost or obligation. Call 800-971-0385. 800-971-0385. 800-971-0385.
A lot for investors to digest as they look to build on the S&P 500's strongest weekly performance of the year. Investors reacting this morning to Pfizer and Allergan and their merger. The more than $150 billion inversion would allow Pfizer to limit its U.S. tax liability by moving to Ireland. Wall Street also considering reports on manufacturing and existing home sales. Geopolitical fears and today's economic developments could affect trading in the currency and debt markets as well. Heightened expectations of a December interest rate hike, pushing short-term Treasury yields to a more than 5-year high. And we're watching for more volatility today in the crude oil market. January crude now the most active futures contract, trading above $41 a barrel. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
My brother Chris is allergic to talking about retirement. Bring up his future and you'll get glazed eyes and awkward answers. Don't believe me? Let's try it. Chris, when will you retire?
Ha! You darn right I like nachos.
See what I mean? Chris, do you have a retirement account?
It's gotta be the right kind of cheese.
One last time. Are you ever going to retire?
And don't forget jalapenos. I love jalapenos.
Good for you, buddy.
Avoiding the retirement conversation? At the Mutual Fund Store, we get it, and our advisors are here to help. Whether you're storing 401k statements in a shoebox, can't tell a traditional from a Roth IRA, or include piggy bank as one of your retirement accounts, there are no judgments here. We'll simply sit down with you one-on-one, talk about where you're at, and help you put a plan in place to get you where you want to be tomorrow. Let's get the conversation started today with a free consultation.
Hi, I'm Steve Check with the Mutual Fund Store in Chicagoland. Call me at 888-498-3636 or visit mutualfundstore.com and let's talk about your financial goals today.
No one ever imagines facing Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia and needing full-time care, but it happens. And deciding on the right residential care for mom or dad can be a monumental task. There is a memory care community that focuses on helping your parent or loved one with dementia light up and live life to the fullest, making them feel like family. Autumn Leaves memory care communities see past the diagnosis to the person you know, that your dad was a fantastic cook, or that your mom loved to dance. A person who deserves so much more than being just an Alzheimer's patient. Whether it's through yoga and music therapy or simply by cooking them their favorite meal, Autumn Leaves strives to stimulate their minds and bodies to respect and nurture the person you care so much about. See for yourself the difference Autumn Leaves communities can mean for your family. Autumn Leaves, dedicated solely to the unique needs of memory care patients.
Autumn Leaves has 10 locations in the Chicagoland area offering day-stay respite and assisted living programs. Call 888-662-8886 or visit autumnleaves.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, the Louisiana governor's race to replace Bobby Jindal should have been a Republican, right? This is a Republican say this is a deep red state.
What happened, Dan?
David Vitter was a terrible statewide candidate because, well, among other things, he picked a fight with Bobby Jindal, blaming him on the state's budget deficits.
But he did something worse.
He
a
did.
moral crime was committed, Dan.
A couple, apparently. But yeah, he was caught up being a bit of a fan of prostitutes. Was on the Washington Madams in their little black book, and there were some other problems that emerged during this most recent campaign over which he was pilloried. Deservedly so, yeah. And John Bell Edwards, the Democrat, former Army Ranger, who ran as a pro-life, pro-gun candidate, put out this ad that I think spelled the end of David Vitter.
The choice for governor couldn't be more clear. John Bell Edwards, who answered our country's call and served as a ranger in the 82nd Airborne Division. Or David Vitter, who answered a prostitute's call minutes after he skipped a vote honoring 28 soldiers who gave their lives in defense of our freedom. David Vitter chose prostitutes over patriots. Now, the choice is yours.
Ouch.
That's
a gut shot.
I'd have to say that ad was effective.
It was
probably
effective.
changed some independents' minds.
Bell Edwards won by 12 points. It was a blowout.
Oh,
and
that much?
Yeah. And it is a cautionary tale for Republican establishment types, maybe in Illinois.
Maybe.
If you have a terrible statewide candidate who is fatally flawed and unable to win, rather than lashing yourselves to that candidate and going down, giving away a seat you should otherwise occupy, Marker, maybe you should think about replacing, forging a primary opponent to that candidate so you don't give away something as important as a gubernatorial seat or a Senate seat. John Bell Edwards, he may have been pro-life and pro-gun. He may be an Army Ranger, and all that is laudable. But he's also seems to be in the pocket of the Union. So we'll see what happens policy-wise under Governor John Bell Edwards in Louisiana. And the fault will ultimately redound to a Republican Party that didn't replace a fatally flawed candidate. Please take note, Illinois GOP.
Nasty, real nasty.
It's sad but true. 1960s radicals are now your children's school teachers. Worried? Send your child to Young America's Foundation's high school conference at the Reagan Ranch. Here, your child will meet top conservative leaders and students and enjoy a life-changing tour of President Ronald Reagan's ranch. Young America's Foundation is the leading organization teaching young people about your values. Reaching young people was so important to Ronald Reagan.
We've got to do a better job of getting across that America is freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of enterprise, and freedom is special and rare. And children, if your parents haven't been teaching you what it means to be an American, let them know and nail them on it.
So what are you waiting for? Send your son or daughter to Young America's Foundation's high school conference at the Reagan Ranch. To learn more, please visit ReaganRanchConference.org. A young person in your life will thank you. Again, that's ReaganRanchConference.org. But you must act now. Seats go fast.
It's time for a little R&R, courtesy of ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Escape to Wisconsin with the overnight stay package for the Schuster Mansion Bed and Breakfast in Milwaukee. You could spend the night in Molly's room, their 2-room luxury suite with a private bath and concierge service. It includes breakfast in the Victorian dining room and fresh chocolate chip cookies. Yours for only $79, valued at $169 a night. Hey, if you need to stay closer to home but want a good night out and laugh out loud, and you can be a part of the show with Comedy Sports Improv. Tickets are normally $44 a pair, but at CRD, they're only $22. And backed by popular demand, experience Gaylord Fine Indian Cuisine. Gaylord serves an extensive lunch and dinner menu of delicious Indian food. This deal is for only $25 for a $50 gift card. Gaylord Fine Indian Cuisine is on Mall Drive, just south of Woodfield Mall. So make a date night and take advantage of all the restaurant deals waiting for you only at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Do you feel like a stranger in your own country? We'll take your calls at 7:07.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say hello once again to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, CTU planning a rally for tonight in Grant Park. We'll tell you why. Michael Jordan reaches a settlement over some unauthorized ads. And the Bears fall to the Broncos at Soldier Field in a dud of a Sunday. Not as cold today. Clouds and sunshine. A high near 36, partly clouding, and 22 overnight. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. 5 more raids yield 5 more possible terror suspects in Belgium, where the capital's on lockdown, fearing Paris-style attacks.
1,000 soldiers have been drafted into the streets as the capital, as subways, shops, concerts, sporting events and other public gatherings remain closed, shut down, and police told citizens to stay indoors and away from possible targets.
Fox's Benjamin Hall in Brussels. They've detained 21 people in numerous raids, but still haven't caught fugitive Paris suspect Saleh Abdeslam. Britain's Prime Minister went to Paris to say he's ready to do more to fight ISIS. Fox's Simon Owen live in London.
But Dave, right now, Britain conducts airstrikes on ISIS targets in Iraq, but unlike the US and France and others, the UK does not hit sites in Syria. Prime Minister David Cameron pushing to change that.
It's in our national interest that we degrade and destroy this dreadful organisation.
So Cameron saying he'll ask Parliament here in London this week for approval to launch airstrikes in Syria. But the last time he tried that, targeting the Syrian government, he was defeated. Dave?
Simon, police in New Orleans want the public's help to find the gunman who opened fire during a block party and music video shoot last night. 16 people were injured. Indianapolis police have made 3 arrests in the murder of a pastor's pregnant wife.
Detectives say the men walked into the Blackburn home, which was unlocked, and confronted Amanda, who was there waiting on her husband to get back from his early morning workout.
Kyle Linsky with Fox 59 TV in Indianapolis says Jalen Watson, Deano Gordon, and Larry Taylor were all taken into custody.
Sources tell Fox 59 Watson and Gordon left with Blackburn's credit card, while Taylor reportedly raped and killed Amanda Blackburn.
There's a big drug deal going down today. Pfizer is buying Allergan for $160 billion to create the world's largest drug maker. The combined company would be based in Ireland, where Pfizer will save money, paying a lower corporate tax rate than here in America. This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Sunrise in Chicago. 28 degrees, winds out of the south at 10 at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago Teachers Union planning a rally at Grant Park tonight. The event comes at a time when about 5,000 teachers could be laid off before year end. Union President Karen Lewis is expected to be the keynote speaker. Chicago fire officials say a burning candle may have sparked that weekend blaze in the Hancock Center in the bedroom of a 50th floor apartment building in that high rise. 5 were treated for minor injuries. A deal has been reached to end Michael Jordan's legal fight over unauthorized supermarket ads. Former Bull player filed suit against the parent company of both Jewel Osco and Dominick's for ads that ran 6 years ago. A Northern Illinois village may erect a memorial to a sheriff's deputy who died nearly a year after he was shot while responding to a domestic violence call. Northwest Herald reporting that Holiday Hills Village Board is discussing putting the memorial to McHenry County Sheriff's Deputy Dwight Manis in a revamped park. 47-year-old Manis and his partner were shot October of 2014, conducting a well-being check at a home in Holiday Hills. An autopsy determined Manis died during a September rehab session from a blood clot in his lung. Holiday Hills Police Chief Tony Collardi says he wants to do something to show the community's appreciation for Manis. The village board will discuss the memorial at its December 7 meeting. Chicago sports, Denver beat the Bears 17-15. Brock Osweiler threw for 2 scores in a win for the Broncos. The news, a service of Dick's Sporting Goods, Santa's Safe gift card giveaway coming to your local Dick's Sporting Goods. 2 lucky customers will win a $500 Dick's gift card. The first 200 adults in line at 6 p.m. Thursday and 5 a.m. Friday receive a chance to win. Every season starts at Dick's. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity is tired of the double standard.
The Carson campaign disputes Politico's unsubstantiated claim that he ever claimed to have applied to West Point or have been admitted. He never said he was admitted or even applied. This is what we've come to expect from Politico. Dirty politics. Let's see, we can go through every Republican candidate, but Hillary lies and she gets away with it.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you living with prostate enlargement? Do you pee more often than you used to? Do you wake up to go? Be honest. Is there a drop in your romantic life? Prostate problems don't go away on their own, so you need to call for a free bottle of Super Beta Prostate, the #1 non-prescription formula for your prostate. The ingredients are natural. With Super Beta Prostate, you'll have less urges to urinate, less waking at night, and an improvement in your romantic life, guaranteed. Try it for free. Pay only shipping and handling. Just call 1-800-317-7593. Super Beta Prostate is so powerful, you'd have to take 100 Saw Palmetto capsules to get the same active ingredient in just one Super Beta Prostate tablet. Stop running to the bathroom and call us now for your free bottle. Hurry, this free offer won't last. Just call 1-800-317-7593. That's 1-800-317-7593. 1-800-317-7593.
7:05. Let's get an update on the roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. In for Jim, here's Dominic Fortini.
Starting to see roads thicken up across most of the Chicagoland area. Inbound Eden's 32 minutes, Lake Cook into the junction. Heavy on the inbound Kennedy, right out of the River Road Toll Plaza all the way downtown. 36 minutes O'Hare to downtown on the outbound side. Traffic starts backing up right around Armitage. 31 minutes downtown out to O'Hare. Traffic remains very solid. Inbound side of the Ike delays St. Charles through the Tri-State, but even thicker Wolf through Independence. An hour 4 from Thorndale into the post office. Outbound delays Coster to 25th. Meanwhile, you're tied up on the inbound Stevenson between Harlem and Kedzie. 50 minutes between 355 and Lakeshore Drive. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Sunshine today, high 36, partly cloudy night, low 22. Partial sunshine tomorrow with a high 38, then a moonlit sky at night with a low 30. Breezy with increasing clouds on Wednesday, high of 44. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
Currently 25 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 7:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Power Trading Radio. Heard Sundays at 2 p.m. Brought to you each week by Online Trading Academy.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
The man that was I don't know, you say roughed up. He was so obnoxious and so loud. He was screaming, and this was a very obnoxious guy who was a troublemaker who was looking to make trouble.
You had a different kind of shooter there in Paris. They spent some time somewhere where they got actual training.
ISIL is something apart. It's enormously strong, and it has to be dealt with in a very strong manner.
We will not give in to fear or start turning on each other or treating some people differently because of religion or race or background.
There is no doubt we would need to vet anyone coming in, but there is no indication of Muslims pretending to be Christians coming in the refugee wave.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. With apologies to Albert Camus.
Who?
Albert Camus, the existentialist writer, The Stranger.
Oh.
Do you feel like the stranger in your own country? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA is the turnkey.pro text line. Do you feel like a stranger in your own country? Reuters did a survey of Americans, putting that question to them. And a majority, 58% of Americans, say they, quote, don't identify with what America has become. And this is not strictly a partisan issue. Republicans and independents were most likely to agree with the statement, but 45% of Democrats shared the feeling. Now, most of these people can't express that opinion because so many millennials don't believe in free speech. so you can feel
Oh,
it, but you
yeah.
can't say it's a microaggression. Need to save space. The entire country.
I don't appreciate your microaggression.
Exactly. I should have given you a trigger warning.
Where's my safe space?
It's right here. Sure, you'll be safe here.
Mike, I
Yeah,
need help
yeah.
in your safe space
You're
newsroom.
Safe here.
Mm.
It's interesting. This piece in Breitbart goes on to talk about cultural factors and that leading Democrat strategists tried to create a couple of years ago the Bobby Kennedy Project in an effort to increase the party's appeal to white working income level voters. I don't like class. I don't try not to use that term. The effort was abandoned, though, when it became clear the party would have to moderate some of its more progressive social positions, liberal. So the party, Democrats, stake their future on appealing to young and minority voters. Young and minority voters that are intolerant of disagreement, according to the Pew Research Centers, the most intolerant. Millennials more likely than any age group to agree that government should have the authority to stop people from saying things that offend minorities. Democrats twice as likely as Republicans to favor such bans. 35% of Democrats, 1 in 3 Democrats, supports the idea. So all of you self-styled civil libertarians who vote Democrat, liberal, listen to this, real close. 1 in 3 Democrats support bans, the government having the authority to stop people from saying things that offend minorities. Is that consistent with civil libertarianism, the Paul Simon gang, Amy's Obama bot friends, the Kankel caucus? Is that America? This is why so many Democrats don't recognize America, because many Democrats, at least cultural Democrats in places like Southern Illinois, they're Democrats. They live conservatively, but they're Democrats because, granddaddy and great-granddaddy were Democrats on down the line. This is why they say they feel like a stranger in their country. But, I mean, there's, it goes from 1 in 3 Democrats to across age demographics, 1 in 5. Nearly 1 in 5 Republicans agree with that statement, which is stunning. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
1 in 5?
Yeah, nearly 1 in 5. Broken down by racial group, it's 23% of whites, so 1 in 5, and nearly 40% of non-whites support the idea of a government ban on speech offensive to minorities. This is, again, according to Pew Research. And do you think they're connected? Those data points are connected to 58% of Americans saying they don't identify with what America has become? I think so. It's the fundamental rights. Fundamental rights. That's the country. Speaking of which, just as a quick aside, very interesting piece over the weekend in the Washington Post. The first majority Muslim U.S. city. This is Hamtramck.
Oh, Hamtramck, Michigan?
Hamtramck, Michigan. Is that how you pronounce it? Hamtramck?
Did you ever see the Clint Eastwood movie?
Bridges of Madison County?
No, not that one. That would be in Iowa. Oh, come on. Get off my lawn.
Gran Torino.
Gran Torino. That was filmed in Hamtramck.
Wow.
But it's all right. So
well,
let me describe
that was the
Detroit.
Hmong. That wasn't
Well, they have
Islamists.
but they do have a few neighborhoods that are Hmong population that were bought over by the Lutheran Church. But so Detroit is, as big as Detroit is, they have a pocket, Highland Park and Hamtramck. They're in the city, but they have their own area codes and their own police departments.
Well, Hamtramck, which was formerly a center of Polish immigration, has become a center over the last decade of Islamic immigration, thousands of immigrants from Yemen and Bangladesh and Bosnia over the past decade. And it's believed to be the first majority Muslim U.S. city. They've got 4 of the 6 city council positions now are held by Muslims. And
are there any Polish left there?
There's, I think it's about 11% of the population, according to this Washington Post piece. One of the city council persons said, I don't know why people keep putting religion into politics. When we asked for votes, we didn't ask what their religion was. This is one of the Muslim city council members. Well, I mean, point of order. We look at what's happening the world over, and Islamic is a political religion. Frankly, that's not me saying that. That's the Shah of Iran saying that 40 years ago. FYI. So that's one issue. It's interesting to note Many longtime residents, this is from the Washington Post piece, Hamtramck, Michigan. Many longtime residents point to 2004 as the year they suspected that the town's culture had shifted irrevocably. It was that year that the city council gave permission to Al-Islah Islamic Center to broadcast its call to prayer from speakers atop its roof. So it's interesting. So there seems to be a general getting along, but there's some underlying tension or concern. I think this goes to that other point I was talking about, this Reuters survey about people feeling like a stranger in their own country. And, it just goes to the larger conversation about culture. Because remember, culture drives everything. Culture drives the law. Culture comes first, the law comes second, because politicians always follow. With a few exceptions, usually follow, sometimes a few lead, but most of them follow the trends. They don't begin the trends. And so thinking about that, and the data point I mentioned earlier, 74% increase in mosques in this country since the year 2000, is it legitimate to have concerns? Or is having a concern about one's culture
make you a racist?
Inherently, right, a racist or Islamophobe or whatever, right.
But in church yesterday, we aligned ourselves, we saying the Episcopalians, with the Catholics and evangelicals saying we should be allowing Syrian refugees into this country. And their whole premise of the sermon yesterday is that, we have a long way to go to make our deeds match our values, and that Jesus would say that this is not the time to ask someone, what's your religion?
Yeah. So here's the thing. One, the Catholic Church, the Catholic Church.
Is it Catholic Church or Catholic Charities? They're both supporting Syrian refugees.
Well, they're getting funded.
It's all about money. That's why the president of France, is still allowing Syrian refugees into his country, because there's some foreign aid coming his way because he's allowing that to happen.
Well, the ironies abound, right? Catholic churches are closing, mosques are springing up as the Catholic Church is facilitating Syrian immigrants. And remember, per the Catholic Charities in Louisiana that lost track of one of the Syrian refugees they assisted with resettlement, we're not a vetting agency. Right, exactly. So that's why we're not going to look to you for national security policy.
Yeah,
because you're not a vetting agency.
We want to put it on hold.
And so that's one piece of it. The other thing, though, with respect to the Syrian refugees, and all of this sentimentality, again, forgetting that all the intelligence and national security people that we've talked to just in the last 10 days since the Paris attacks, across the political spectrum, who suggest that a pause is the appropriate policy because it's a resource issue, right? We cannot vet. It is very difficult to do that. 18 to 24 months in normal circumstances, these are not normal circumstances. Forget that for a second. Forget the 47 Democrats who voted to press the pause button on Thursday. Forget that. So let's work the logic on this a little bit. So think about this economically. $64,000 to resettle a refugee for 5 years. 10,000 refugees, that's $640 million. Is that a lot of money in the context of a $4 trillion federal budget? No, it's not. It's marginal.
But it's still $640 million.
Access to the welfare state, it's marginal. In terms of the overall context, right? That's you have to put context to these numbers. So it's not an economic thing. 10,000 Syrian immigrants in refugees in a country of 330 million people, are they going to change the culture? No, they're not going to change the culture, even if they didn't assimilate. And I assume many of them, particularly the Christians, would assimilate. So there's not a cultural concern. So if it's not a cultural concern, it's not an economic concern. There's some fairness arguments, but it's not really an economic concern. Is it possible for your Obama bot friends and your church mates, co-congregants, and for all of the other Obama droids out there and Kanko Caucus members, is it possible, just possible, that good people would have legitimate concern thinking about what a couple of refugees did at the Boston Marathon, thinking about what a dozen and a half Islamofascists did on 9/11, seeing what's happened in Paris, both in January with Charlie Hebdo and then on November 13th, seeing the reaction to Paris, state of emergency for 3 months, Brussels on shutdown. Is it just possible that people of reason could rationally say, let's take a step back, pause, not ban, pause, and understand who exactly we're letting into this country and what they intend to do if and when they get here. Is that a rational position, or is that just a prima facie Islamophobia? Or is it perhaps the people that are casting the Islamophobia aspersion, are they prima facie idiots? I don't know. Your thoughts. 312-642-5600. We'll take your calls after this.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up, your phone calls. Grab a line. 312-642-5600 is the number. And the numbers in the weather department, it's cold right now, 25 degrees, but we have sunshine out there, only heating up to 36 degrees. Tonight, a low of 22. And tomorrow, a little bit warmer. Well, partly sunny skies, a high near 40. Let's get the travel times and see how the inbound Kennedy's doing. Here's Dominic Fartini.
Well, you mentioned that inbound Kennedy, plenty messy out of the River Road Toll Plaza all the way to the Burns Circle. 55 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 25 in from the junction, 18 in the inbound Express, a better choice there. Outbound, having some trouble still with traffic lights flashing red, Ontario and Orleans. 31 minutes from downtown to O'Hare. Even slower inbound Kennedy at an hour 7, Thorndale into the post office. Heaviest parts between Wolfe and Independence. Outbound delay stretching from Coster to First Avenue, 46 minutes from the post office to Thorndale. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
What could you do with an extra $500, $1,000, or even $1,500 per month? How would that change things for you? Would you buy a new car, pay off bills, or just feel a bit more secure about your retirement? What if I told you there may be a way to make your dreams a reality? I'm talking about trading and investing in the market. Now, before you say, oh no, that's not for me, just hear me out. I want to invite you to a free trading and investing class so you can check this out. And right now, if you call in and mention offer Radio 50, Online Trading Academy will comp the class and even send you home with a free $247 home study program. Call right now and reserve your seat while space is still available. Call 888-601-TRADE. Call 888-601-TRADE. Mention offer Radio 50. Call 888-601-TRADE or online at otaclass.com. That's 888-601-8723 or otaclass.com.
It's happening to you every night. One snores and the other can't sleep. It seems like there's no end to it. But now, there is a quick and easy-to-use solution, a natural solution. Snore Stop. Snore Stop was created and tested by a team of physicians and has been helping couples sleep for over 18 years. It is the #1 selling anti-snoring medicine in the U.S.
Thank you, Snore Stop. You saved my marriage.
Snore Stop sprays or tablets are now available nationwide at a store near you, or you can go online at snorestop.com. Don't wait. It's time to try Snore Stop and make every night a better night for both of you.
Thanks, Snore Stop. Now I'm back in the bedroom.
So don't wait. Try Snore Stop, the #1 selling anti-snoring medicine in the U.S. Spray or tablets are available today at a store near you or online at snorestop.com. That's snorestop.com. Snore Stop, keeping you together.
Are you or someone you know facing foreclosure? Losing the family home? Well, you'd be not alone, so please listen to this. There are a lot of issues in a foreclosure, legal issues, factual issues. Dozens so far, and more coming to light every day. You see, people, we are in the aftermath of what will go down in history as the greatest financial crime in history, from which a lot of people profited immensely. And these people did not always do things entirely legally. That is a foregone conclusion. I'm Lou Bridges. I put together a law firm dedicated to foreclosure defense and to avoiding foreclosure by working with the banks, based on a thorough examination and analysis of all the potential issues and questions. And we have surrounded ourselves with people equally committed to this pursuit of justice.
Call 224-513-1231. That's 224-513-1231. Or visit FightIllinoisForeclosures.com. That's FightIllinoisForeclosures.com. Get real answers from a real foreclosure defense firm and discover the legal tools at your disposal.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
It's a great product. The years I was on it for like about 3 years before, and I know that I was not sick at all. And that couple of months that I was off of it, I ended up having a cold, and I haven't had a cold in like all the years that I was on it before. So I'm back on it again, and I don't intend to get off of it again because I've seen the proof in the pudding, you know.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, feel like a stranger in your own country. 58% of Americans say yes. What say you, John, in LaSalle County?
I don't identify with this. We have my own decision.
Sorry, John. We got a bad connection. Sorry about that.
Oh, let's go to Ruth. I love the name Ruth.
Ruth in Rogers Park. It's biblical.
Hi. Well, here's the thing. Let's say it only cost America, what did you just say, $640 million, which I agree with you is not so much, but in the long run, they're going to probably be on welfare for a while. They have to learn the language, and then, until they get a job, we're going to be paying for everything. We're going to be paying for their housing, their cell phones, their schooling, and everything. So it's going to cost us a lot more in the long run.
Thanks for the call, Ruth. Yeah, I mean,
And their health insurance, too.
There are local costs. The feds pick up the costs only for so long. There are issues. There's also issues of opportunity cost, the money we're spending there. What about all the needs of Americans that we talk about? The people who, especially on the left, the schools are underfunded, and we should lower the threshold for Medicaid services. We should do all these other things with money we don't have, programs that we can't run that are all functionally insolvent.
Well,
at some point, there's a give. So I just wanted to get past the money argument to focus on what the real concern is with respect to these Syrian refugees, and it's not fundamentally a money issue.
Well, wouldn't it be more cost-effective or more humane to do what Donald Trump and KT McFarland had suggested in setting up a safe zone for the Syrian refugees so they don't have to leave their homeland, and that there's hope that maybe someday they can go back and recover some of the items that they had to leave behind? I mean, it's not easy to just pick up and move, and it's not easy to watch your loved ones be slaughtered, but where are they going to go? What are we going to do with them? So,
Greg in Peoria. Hey, Greg. Greg,
yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think $500 million in the whole scheme of things is minuscule compared to 2 or 3 or 400 militants of extremists that we might let in. That's the key issue, in my opinion. If you have 10 people that destroyed a large portion of Paris and killed or wounded over 500 people, you took just 10 people like they did in Paris and distribute those all over the United States, you got 30 or 40 cities that could be hit. That's dangerous. That's the problem. We need to just screen these people and to find out who they are the best we can. I think that's the monetary issue. By the way, I want to say thanks for broadcasting your station over 200 miles away, too.
Yeah.
Anything for you.
Thanks for the call, Greg. We play in Peoria, and by the way, I think you're spot on. I think exactly what you said. Mike in Park Ridge.
Hi, Dan and Amy. I've been trying to tell as many people as I can that these Syrian refugees are a huge gift horse. We need to corral as many of them as we can and get a volunteer army that we arm, train, fund, and prepare to send back and take that region. They can have Iraq, too. There's probably 3-4 million of them that we can send back and sweep the whole region.
All right,
a
Mike.
lot of them are up for fighting.
Yeah, we don't have conscription. No, it'd be interesting. The condition of resettlement. Ralph and Rantoul.
Yeah, good morning. We're absolutely set upon a clash of culture. You're absolutely right when you say that culture changes first than the law, because the law will, in fact, follow the culture change. And, I have an aversion to dispersion. I don't want to get blown up. So even if we can stop a few bombers, well, that's a few bombers that should be stopped. I'm all for it. I don't trust these people, and I think that our political correctness, 10 or 20,000 immigrants, you're right, isn't enough to change the culture. But unfortunately, there's like 457 nincompoops in Congress who will pass a law that will affect all of us that benefit 10 or 20,000.
Thanks for the call, Ralph. Yeah, and unfortunately, so many on the left don't mind being blown up because they're dead from the neck up.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Homeowners, do you have low water pressure in your shower? You get scalded when someone flushes. Many people don't realize that corrosion in their pipes causes these low pressure problems, not to mention leaks and rusty water too. But now, all these problems can be solved with one simple solution. Through the process of repiping, we can replace those old corroded pipes with new, high-quality pipes. You'll have great pressure, clean, clear water, be able to take a shower and run the washing machine at the same time. I'm Jeff Butler, owner of Repipe Specialists. We've helped over 30,000 homeowners, and it only takes us 1 or 2 days to completely repipe your home with a lifetime guarantee and on approved credit for as little as $99 a month. Plus, if you sign up by the end of the month, we'll patch your walls for free. Call now for a repipe, free wall patching, a lifetime guarantee, all for as little as $99 a month. Just call 1-800-REPIPING. That's 1-800-REPIPING. 800-737-4746. 800-737-4746.
Hi, this is Shalom Klein of Get Down to Business, the show for small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship, powered by Tandem HR.
On January 1st of 2016, the Affordable Care Act's transitional rules for small and mid-sized employers expire, and the employer health care mandate will apply to all employers with an average of 50 or more full-time employees. You need to be planning for 2016 now. If you have fewer than 50 employees, you still have some research to do. Your company may be eligible for certain tax credits. If eligible, these credits can help defray the costs associated with providing healthcare coverage. Understanding exactly whom employers must cover and why they become subject to the employer mandate isn't always clear. Consult appropriate advisors to make sure that you understand which provisions of the Affordable Care Act apply to your organization. Stay compliant and avoid penalties.
For more tips, advice, and stories of entrepreneurial successes, listen to Get Down to Business with me, Shalom Klein, heard Sunday evenings at 6. Your Business Minute of the Day is brought to you by Everett Wealth Solutions.
AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 7:37, Mike Baker, former CIA covert ops officer, joins us to talk Syrian refugees.
And what's in a name? The Vietnamese-American man might be changing his soon. We'll explain why coming up. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning once again to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Sunshine, 28 degrees, and 2 are reported dead after a U.S. military helicopter crashes in South Korea. It was an Apache helicopter that went down. The pilot and crew member killed. Police in Paris investigating the theft of a medical protective clothing bundle from a hospital. The theft discovered on November 18, less than 1 week after a string of terror attacks shook Paris. The investigation comes as France's prime minister continues to warn about the possibility of some sort of biochemical attack. Secretary of State John Kerry says there is no specific threat against the United States.
There is always, as we've said to people for years, the threat of some actor, some lone wolf person, someone who slipped through. That's the world we're living in today, and we understand that.
John Kerry on NBC's Today Show. A Belgian prosecutor says 21 have been detained, the results of raids, and he detailed those raids for reporters a short time ago.
In total, 16 persons were arrested. The investigating judge will decide tomorrow about their possible further detention.
The identities of those arrested have not been released in Brussels, Belgium. Pharmaceutical makers Pfizer and Allergan are coming together in a mega inversion merger deal, creating the world's largest drug manufacturer, now based in Ireland. It's a $160 billion deal. Police in Indiana have a teen in custody this morning and 2 others under questioning for the murder of a pregnant pastor's wife. Indianapolis Metro Police announcing early this morning that 18-year-old Larry Taylor was arrested and charged in the murder of Amanda Blackburn. Here in Chicago, the Teachers Union planning a rally at Grant Park tonight. The event comes at a time when about 5,000 teachers could be laid off before year's end. Chicago sports. Denver beat the Bears 17-15. The news a service of the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Someone you know is suffering from Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. They're dealing with the excruciating pain and days when they won't be able to get out of bed. Help someone you know and support the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America, ccfa.org. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
My wife, Helene, she knows me better than anybody on this planet. Ask her anything.
The Joe Walsh Show.
I just have one quick question. Is he always angry?
No. You know what? When we're at home, we're actually very quiet. He's not angry. I'm the one he has to calm me down half the time.
You're killing the image, Helene.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Don't listen to a damn word she says. I'm always pissed off.
Exergen temporal scanner thermometers, the top choice of doctors and nurses nationwide. It should be yours with doctors and nurses nationwide. Exergen temporal scanner provides an accurate temperature, stress-free. Available at Walgreens. Stress-free. Available at Walgreens.
If you have sleep apnea, this isn't a radio commercial. It's a gift. The gift of sleeping in total comfort anywhere you want, thanks to Transcend, the world's very first mini CPAP. Because right now, we'll give you the opportunity to try Transcend absolutely risk-free for a full 10 days. Call us now, 1-800-775-3319. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend Mini CPAP is as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound, giving you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. Transcend is so small and so light you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Give yourself the gift of sleeping comfortably anywhere, anytime you want. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day in-home trial. 1-800-775-3319. That's 1-800-775-3319.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. If you have a pre-existing condition, a canceled plan, or your premium increased, now's the time to get covered. 2016 open enrollment begins on November 1st and ends on January 31st. During this 90-day window, you cannot be denied coverage. Depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. The new healthcare law is very complicated and you do need guidance. It costs you nothing to use a broker, so why not tap into my expertise?
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
737 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. In for Jim, here's Dominic Fortini.
Traffic getting plenty heavy across the Chicago area roadways. Inbound Eden's 40 minutes. Lake Cook into the junction. Inbound Kennedy sloppy from Canfield into the Burn Circle. An hour O'Hare to downtown. 27 in from the junction. A good bet. And 20 in the inbound express lanes. Outbound side 34 minutes downtown to O'Hare. And watch for some very solid conditions. Inbound side of the Ike. Slammed in Manheim into Independence. An hour 17. Thorndale to the Harvest. An hour in from Manheim. Traffic's a service of Compassion International. There's a little boy or girl living in poverty right now. They don't have enough to eat, are sick, and can't go to school, and you can release them from that poverty when you become a sponsor with Compassion International. Find out how at compassion.com/radio. Traffic answers when you need the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort. Your commercial HVAC solution provider. Not as cold today. Clouds and sunshine. High 36. 25 at O'Hare, 28 along the lakefront. Next news coming up at 8. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Aging Info Radio. Heard Sunday mornings at 9, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Amy, I might need to stay over at that underground detention center that you have in your backyard in case there's unrest.
You're not supposed to tell anybody about
Well,
it.
I just want to reserve my spot because on Wednesday, the release of this police video, the shooting involving the shooting that killed Laquan McDonald, Chicago police officer shot and killed Laquan McDonald. The video, the dash cam video, is going to be released on Wednesday. And there's already a lot of advance warning that this is going to be incendiary and could spark civil unrest.
Yeah, but a lot of people are worried that Chicago is going to become the next Ferguson, Missouri, because I know somebody who saw this video, Dan, and they said, in their words, it is really bad. You have a white police officer shooting a 17-year-old black teen 16 times in the back, but he shoots him about 10 rounds, and then he collapses, and he comes up and pumps more bullets into him while he's already down.
That's alleged. We don't know.
Alleged. Well, that's what my friend said was on the video, that he saw the video.
That's
now,
alleged.
The officer in question has been on desk duty for 18 months now. 18 months. Still a part of the department, still not charged. And I think when people see this video, that police officer is going to be charged rather quickly. Cook County State's Attorney Anita Alvarez said that she should know about charges by the end of this week.
You know what's sickening about this? There's a couple of things. I mean, there's
Political?
layers in advance of the meeting, but the politics of it. So on the one hand, you have the lack of a dispensation to this case because, arguably, Rahm didn't want this coming out during his reelection the first part of this year.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, you have Anita Alvarez now running for reelection, that after a year of investigation, why it takes that long to make a judgment. By the way, a little backstory, the city preemptively settled the case before it was even filed, before a wrongful death case was even filed, for $5 million to the family, gave $5 million to the family of Laquan McDonald. But now you have Anita Alvarez running for reelection, and she's facing an African-American woman in that primary for the state's attorney. And now, because the judge ruled that the video shall be released by the end of the day, Wednesday, Anita Alvarez says a decision will be made by week's end. The idea that people's lives and people's professional or even potentially criminal conduct is a matter of political convenience, of maximizing the political value of someone else's life, of someone's conduct, is, I know it's endemic to Chicago, but it doesn't make it right. And unfortunately, we just have we have such a virulent strain of Stockholm Syndrome in the city of Chicago that most people, I suspect, are blithely going about their business. They have no idea what's coming down the pike on Wednesday, and little concern, until and unless it all breaks loose.
And I have a feeling, I hope that I am wrong, but I have a feeling that this is going to start civil unrest in the city. I think cars are going to be flipped over, set on fire. Businesses are going to be looted. It is that
well, you're very specific
damaging.
with your kind of civil unrest you're predicting.
Well, it said, the video is that damaging. This is what happened. It was October 20th, 2014. This 17-year-old kid who's got a pretty lengthy criminal background, he was at a trucking yard, and he was vandalizing trucks and taking things out of the trucks. And the owner of the yard called 911 and said he has a knife. He threatened me with it. 5 cops show up. The only cop that ever fired 16 rounds, the only one to fire at all, is this police officer in question who's now on desk duty. The officer claims that the suspect threatened him and lunged at him with the knife. But the problem is, on the video, it does not show that. So the police union, they're taking his word for it and supporting him, but the video told a different story. Now add in the fact that there was some surveillance camera at the Burger King across the street from this trucking yard, and apparently detectives came in and allegedly erased some of the tape between 9:13 and 10:30, and the shooting happened at 9:50 p.m.
Now, in addition to that, though, there is this question of what Laquan McDonald did on the night in question. I assume we'll see some of that on the videotape. It may or may not be all of it. I don't know.
Apparently, he slashed a police tire and threw something at the windshield, but then started walking away. And it's when he started walking away that the white police officer went. I mean, I guess he went crazy and pumped 16, fired 16 shots.
Well, again, this is what has been alleged. Now, if he slashed a police tire, he didn't do it with his hand. So that means he was brandishing a knife. If that's what happened, this is all if.
Yeah,
if that's, let me finish my point. If that's what happened, and so the question becomes reasonable fear for the officer's reasonable fear for his life. If someone is brandishing a knife at you or coming at you or at your squad car and doing vandalism to your squad car, threatening you in some way, that is a different story than someone who may have brandished a knife but then runs away and you open fire, a la the Walter Scott case. Once you can no longer reasonable man standard, reasonably fear for your life, then that is no longer a justified shooting. And here's the thing. I go back again. This shouldn't be that difficult to flesh out. It shouldn't take a year. The comparison to the Walter Scott case in
arrests
South
were made
Carolina.
right away.
Right.
Officer charged with first-degree murder right away.
And here's how you have faith in the justice system, even if something terrible occurs, even if someone in uniform does something terrible. And we know this happens. Cops are human beings. There's going to be some bad ones, and there are some bad ones. And we've seen some bad ones in all the cases that we've talked about on this show. But you have faith in the justice system when justice is meted out, when somebody does something wrong. And for it to take as long as it's taken in this case is very difficult for the city to explain. And maybe it's pause for reflection for some of those Rahm loyalists and McCarthy loyalists, including in minority communities in the city of Chicago, to demand a little bit better than we've been getting for about 100 years. What about that?
Well, police said McDonald had PCP in his system, and they're maintaining that he was behaving erratically and refusing police commands to drop that 4-inch folding knife.
Let's go to calls. John on the north side. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, this is just for Amy. It's kind of I'm a little bit disappointed. I think you're not doing our city a service at all by suggesting that there might be looting or rampage, and I think you should be reprimanded, but that's just me.
Okay, I'll turn myself into the HR director. No, I'm telling you, people that have seen this video, even community leaders gathered on Saturday during the snowstorm and said, please, we're urging calm. We want you guys to behave responsibly. 200
African-American leaders, both spiritual and political and civic and business, except for Jesse Jackson Jr., or just Sr., he doesn't count. But LG Sims, a state rep, had this to say.
As incendiary as this video may be, and we've all heard the rumors of how incendiary it may be, remain calm. Don't incite violence in our community. Don't exact violence on our community. But let's use that energy into a positive way.
That's the right tone. I hope people take him up on that.
And it's so disturbing. Laquan's mom even said, please, I don't want the world to see how my son died. It's too much for me to handle.
Yeah, but she doesn't, with due respect, she doesn't get to make that choice. And for people, so some people have suggested, well, the video shouldn't be released. And the fact that the city have fought the video being released, also another strike against Rahm and the whole Chicago regime. Why are you fighting the video being released? The public has a right to know. It is a public record, like a mugshot, like a police report, that dash cam video. You shouldn't have fought it.
They spent a lot of money fighting the release of this tape.
And what does that do? It suggests we want to cover this up.
Yeah.
We want to paper over it rather than be transparent about it, which the left always says they are and they never turn out to be, and engage people so that you can dull the blade, so that you can tamp down the incendiary nature of this, so people can have faith that you're taking serious matters like the killing of a 17-year-old seriously. But that's not what Rahm did.
No. And just so you know, Laquan was a ward of the state. He was living with his uncle, but his mom was in the process of trying to get him back. So,
Joe in Tinley Park.
Yeah, there's something wrong with this. I never fired a gun before January. I took my concealed carry class, and I got into doing it as a hobby. And I did it 20 feet away. I could target shoot with both hands. Why can't this policeman just shoot him in a non-lethal area?
No.
That's not what this. He shot him 16 times, and then when he was on the ground, he shot him some more.
Well, if that happened, that's a problem. But this shooting, this like shooting to wing. No. Here's the deal. And Joe, you're a new shooter. If you fear for your life, you shoot to stop. You don't play Dirty Harry. This isn't a buddy cop movie. If you fear for your life from an attacker, then you shoot to stop the attacker. You shoot center mass.
16 times? That's a little overzealous.
I'm withholding judgment. I'm suggesting that there's real questions about that. I agree. But let's the shoot to wing stuff. We got to go. That's got to go. Ron on the south side.
Hey, good morning. Dan, you really hit on it just as, the ladies just as denied. But look here. For those who want to, the guys, LG Sims, the people who probably would be turned over because they ain't listening to me, Come on, please. They don't even know who he is. But
I do.
No, really.
I hear you.
But let's be real. But that's why I like you show. But here's the thing. For those who want to turn over cars and do all that, you know what? It's too late. See, you can trace this right back to one person. And Amy, you were supportive of this guy. You were supportive of Rahm Emanuel. Look at the thing that's coming out. with the cameras and stuff. So you know what? Matter of fact, when people start now talking about Rahm, and particularly on African American radio, I cut it off because I told them for years people have complained about this guy. We had a chance to get rid of this corrupt, no good mayor. So don't turn over cars. Shut up. Maybe the feds come here. But that's how I feel. We had a chance, guys. And Amy, you defended him, so I blame you just as much. Have a good day.
Thanks for the call, Ron. And I'll tell you something else that's tragically ironic. So Tiny Dancer and the 50 ballerinas on the city council, they're going to advise the national government how to deal with the Syrian refugees. I mean, they passed a resolution. They took a stand on that.
I saw that, yeah.
These are the same people that preside over this lawless city we call Chicago. What a joke.
I own that. There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up, more of your phone calls. 312-642-5600 is the number. The numbers in the weather department, well, they're pretty cold. 25 degrees right now at O'Hare. Plenty of sunshine going up to a high of 36 degrees. Tonight, a low of 22 degrees. And tomorrow, a little bit warmer, partly sunny, a high near 40. Travel times, here's Dominic Fortini, who's in for Jim Telemonte.
Travel times on the rise, both directions of the Edens, 40 minutes inbound Lake Cook into the junction, a half hour out. Inbound Kennedy at 53 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 27 in from the junction, 23 in the inbound express lanes. Watch for solid delays inbound Ike, an hour 17 from Thorndale to the post office, an hour in from Manheim. Inbound Stevenson hits the brakes. Harlem to Kedzie, an hour 18 from 355 into Lakeshore, 55 in from the Tri-State. And brake lights on the inbound Ryan begin at 47th this morning, a half hour from 95th into downtown. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
There's no question that the economy's turbulence keeps you up at night. It's difficult to know what the financial market has in store next. You want to focus on the future well-being of your business and be sure that your family will be taken care of and their future provided for. The real question is, what can you do to maximize your future business challenges and opportunities? Attend the Newsmakers Forum Business Outlook 2016, hosted by the Daily Herald Business Ledger in partnership with AM 560 The Answer and the Small Business Advocacy Council. For $45, you'll get lunch, attendance to this limited seating expo, and most importantly, valuable financial market insight. The conference is Thursday, December 3rd at the newly renovated Drake Hotel in Oak Brook. Educate yourself at Business Outlook 2016 by reserving your spot online at dhbusinessledger.com. Or call 630-955-3593. That's dhbusinessledger.com or 630-955-3593. It's easy to take your commercial HVAC system for granted. It's always there, keeping your building comfortably warm or cool. Until you have a system failure. With another unforgiving Chicago winter just around the corner, now's the time to have a comprehensive review of your mechanical HVAC system. And you don't want just anyone. You want Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading mechanical professionals. For over 80 years, Air Comfort has delivered its customers the best trained and highly skilled team of award-winning technicians. That's why Air Comfort is recognized as Star Certified by the MSCA, a designation achieved by only 2% of contractors nationwide. With a service fleet of more than 80 fully equipped vehicles, chances are that an Air Comfort technician is nearby. Schedule your system check by calling now, 708-345-1900. That's 708-345-1900 or online at aircomfort.com.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. TLC Laser Eye Centers is now offering great prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved all-laser LASIK technology for less than what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free consultation so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Individual results may vary. Call 1-800-600-7926. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra 10% off your all-laser LASIK procedure. We've already performed over 2 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve for less than what others charge. For your free consultation, call 1-800-600-7926. 1-800-600-7926.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy talking about the Laquan McDonald video that will be released by end of Wednesday. Mike on the Northwest Side.
Hi, this is Mike. I'm a Chicago police officer, and I'm listening to what you guys are saying. And first thing, I don't think it's going to be that bad as far as any kind of civil unrest. Hopefully the weather will play a part. It's sad that we have to look at it that way, but people also have to realize, too, that this thing is already, from what everyone's saying, is under investigation by the feds. So they're taking a look at it. And you can't blame the city, really, for wanting to hold back on this thing until maybe this time, because could you imagine if this thing was released, like, say, last July or August? How bad that could have potentially gotten really ugly then.
But it still could get ugly. I mean, aren't you guys fearful of retaliation?
We're going through things now. I mean, we were told a few things at work and what to get ready for, and the city's making preparations. But like I said, they're this hopefully with this week and with the holiday and that, and it's kind of smart on their part. You can't really blame them. But also, there's people that come out no matter what. They're anti-police. And no matter what, they're going to, the fake outrage and everything else. Right. And I'm not saying, like I said, I didn't see this. I've talked to coppers that have witnessed, that saw the video, and it is. It's going to be ugly. Let's just face it. But we don't know what was going through that officer's mind when he got there, and let's just let this thing play out. And for these people to get, we're outraged and we're going to start burning and looting. I mean, it's just another excuse, and they can think of a million things to come up to act that way.
All right. Thanks for the call, Mike. Be safe out there.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
People say the government needs to fight income inequality, but what does that mean? Let's say you wanted equality in basketball. Now, how are you going to make me and LeBron James equal? I mean, here's one of the best basketball players in the world, someone who's spent years developing his skills and who obviously has some physical advantages. So how are you going to make us equal? Well, you could tie LeBron's hands behind his back, but even that wouldn't do it. I'm really bad at basketball. Basically, you'd have to break his legs too. Making people equal means resorting to physical force. It means breaking legs. That can't be right. To learn more, visit ARIradio.com. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Ron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brooks Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ARIradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
2 little tablets is all it takes to make your thin hair feel and look thicker and fuller, guaranteed. Viviscal is clinically researched to promote existing hair growth for men and women. You'll love your hair growth results, guaranteed. Viviscal is so effective, it's recommended by top doctors. Want to try Viviscal? Every listener that calls now gets a 90-day risk-free supply plus free shipping. Call now, 800-884-1759. 800-884-1759. That's 800-884-1759.
Hi, folks. Alan Thicke here. You know, some things in life are just too serious to take chances on, and owing money to the IRS is definitely one of those. The IRS has the power to garnish your paycheck. They can levy your bank account, even take your home or business. Seriously. Thankfully, with one simple call, you can start solving your tax debt once and for all. Optima Tax Relief is the leading tax resolution firm in the nation. They have over 250 professionals. They have an A rating with the Better Business Bureau and the trust of thousands thousands of satisfied clients. Optima's attorneys can immediately protect you from aggressive collections because they are experts in the Fresh Start Initiative. That's a special IRS debt forgiveness program that could save you thousands. Don't wait till it's too late. Get serious. Call Optima now for your free consultation.
Call 800-711-5743. 800-711-5743. 800-711-5743. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Guess who was for a pause in refugees before he was against it? We'll discuss with Peter Roskam at 8:08.
And if you want to know a man, just ask his children. We'll explain. But first, here's Mike Scott.
A CTU rally planned for tonight at Grant Park. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Soldiers are on the streets. Subways aren't running. Brussels on lockdown as Belgians fear a Paris-style terror attack. Fox's Simon Owen live in our European bureau.
Dave, it's also a day off school for children in Brussels. Belgian Prime Minister Charles Michel saying everything is being done to get the city back to normal, but he's also warning that Brussels faces a serious and imminent threat, perhaps an attack along the lines of what was seen in Paris 10 days ago. A search continues for a Belgian man linked to those Paris attacks. Police have detained 21 people in raids since yesterday. Dave?
Simon, British Prime Minister David Cameron's gone to Paris, where he and the French president have agreed to cooperate more to counter terrorism.
It is frankly ridiculous we can get more information from countries outside the EU than we can from each other.
Cameron's also going to try this week to get the UK Parliament to approve British airstrikes hitting Islamic militants in Syria. Donald Trump says if he's elected president, he'll bring back waterboarding for terror suspects, telling ABC.
We have to be strong. You know, they don't use waterboarding over there. They use chopping off people's heads.
Trump has a bigger lead in the Republican race. A new Fox poll gives him 28%, 10 points ahead of Ben Carson in second. Police in Indianapolis think they found the guys behind the murder of a pastor's pregnant wife. Fox's Jeff Manasso on the case live.
Dave, police in Indianapolis say 3 suspects have been captured and now await charges in connection with the murder of Amanda Blackburn during a home invasion and robbery 2 weeks ago. We're told that while 2 of the suspects left the home to use Blackburn's ATM card, that 18-year-old Larry Taylor allegedly raped and then shot and killed her. Police say Taylor, Jalen Watson, and Deanna Gordon also expect to be charged with other recent burglaries and at least 1 additional rape case. Dave?
Jeff, Pfizer has made a deal to become the world's biggest drug maker. Pfizer's buying Allergan for $160 billion, and it's going to cost the U.S. because the company will be based in Ireland, where it will pay less in taxes. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Sunshine in Chicago. We have 28 degrees this morning at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. Police in Indiana say they have a teenager in custody connected with the murder of a pregnant pastor's wife. Indianapolis Metro Police are expecting to hold a news conference later today announcing that 18-year-old Larry Taylor was arrested and charged with the murder of Amanda Blackburn. Here in Chicago, the Teachers Union is planning a rally tonight in Grant Park. The event comes at a time when about 5,000 teachers could be laid off before year's end. Union President Karen Lewis is expected to be the featured speaker. Chicago police are searching for 2 male suspects accused of robbing a Northside motel. Police say the culprits got away with cash and an iPad. The incident happened Saturday afternoon. Detectives say a pair of Hispanic males walked into the Diplomat Hotel on the 5200 block of North Lincoln Avenue and walked out with the goods. Power coming back on for some still in the dark in northern Indiana after the first big winter storm of the season over the weekend. Indiana Michigan Power says about 1,500 in South Bend still need to have the lights turned back on. Chicago sports, Denver beat the Bears 17-15. Minnesota and Green Bay now share first place in the NFC North, following the Packers' convincing win over the Vikes. There's college baskets on schedule for tonight. Chicago State taking on the Fighting Illini. The news, a service of Dick's Sporting Goods. Santa's Safe Gift Card Giveaway is coming to your local Dick's Sporting Goods. 2 lucky customers will win a $500 Dick's gift card. The first 200 adults in line at 6 p.m. Thursday and 5 a.m. Friday receive a chance to win. Every season starts at Dick's. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. Let's get an update on what's happening on Wall Street. From the Fox Business Network's Carol Zimmer.
From the Fox Business Network, stock futures are slightly higher. Last week, stocks posted their best week this year. The S&P gained 8 points, the Dow Industrials up 9 points, and the Nasdaq rose 31. Pfizer has made it official. The pharma giant is buying Allergan, the maker of Botox, for about $155 billion. It's a deal that creates the world's biggest drug maker by sales. Higher drug prices are hitting Medicare. One study shows prices may jump 13% next year. Tomorrow, we get another reading on the U.S. economy. It's expected to show that the economy slowed in the second half of this year and is a report that will be closely watched by economists, especially those at the Fed. Analysts expect an interest rate hike when policymakers meet again in December. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Carol Zimmer.
8:05 in Chicago, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Hey, Chicagoland, Dave Ramsey here. For the last 20-plus years, we've helped millions of people get their financial lives in order. And now, for the first time ever, we're bringing our Smart Money Tour to you. Financial expert Chris Hogan and I will be at Willow Creek Church on January 12th. If you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck or wondering what you're going to do when retirement comes around, don't miss this event. Get your seats today at DaveRamsey.com.
Sponsored in part by ImageOneChicago.com.
Are you living with prostate enlargement? Do you pee more often than you used to? Do you wake up to go? Be honest. Is there a drop in your romantic life? Prostate problems don't go away on their own, so you need to call for a free bottle of Super Beta Prostate, the #1 non-prescription formula for your prostate. The ingredients are natural. With Super Beta Prostate, you'll have less urges to urinate, less waking at night, and an improvement in your romantic life, guaranteed. Try it for free. Pay only shipping and handling. Just call 1-800-317-7593. Super Beta Prostate is so powerful, you'd have to take 100 saw palmetto capsules to get the same active ingredient in just one Super Beta Prostate tablet. Stop running to the bathroom and call us now for your free bottle. Hurry, this free offer won't last. Just call 1-800-317-7593. That's 1-800-317-7593. 1-800-317-7593.
8:06 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. In for Jim, here's Dominic Fortini.
Well, if you need to head into the city, you might want to leave a little earlier this morning. Mostly delayed the thicker variety on the inbound side of our roadways. Inbound Eden's 37 minutes, Lake Cook into the junction. Inbound Kennedy tied up from Canfield into the Burn Circle. 53 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 27 in from the junction. 23 in the inbound Express. Inbound Ike been a problem all morning between Manheim and Western. An hour 24 from Thorndale into the post office. An hour 8 in from Manheim. Outbound delays between Costner and First Avenue will cost you 55 minutes from the post office to Thorndale. Inbound Stevenson, stop and go Harlem into Lakeshore. You're looking at an hour 15 from 355 in. Only 55 in from the Tri-State, while the inbound Ryan a half hour 95th into downtown. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, not as cold with a full day of sunshine. High 36. Tonight, partly cloudy and cold with a low 22. Then tomorrow, partly sunny with a high 38 and a moonlit sky at night with a low of 30. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
25 at O'Hare, sunshine. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Lou Bridges Show, a show about the truth of the foreclosure crisis. Saturday mornings at 8 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
The man that was I don't know, you say roughed up, he was so obnoxious and so loud. He was screaming, and this was a very obnoxious guy who was a troublemaker who was looking to make trouble.
You had a different kind of shooter there in Paris. They spent some time somewhere where they got actual training.
ISIL is something apart. It's enormously strong, and it has to be dealt with in a very strong manner.
We will not give in to fear or start turning on each other.
or treating some people differently because of religion or race or background.
There is no doubt we would need to vet anyone coming in, but there is no indication of Muslims pretending to be Christians coming in the refugee wave.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We're going to talk to Congressman Peter Roskam in just a moment, but I wanted to present a bit of a compare and contrast that I think is instructive. The compare and contrast between what's happening at the local law enforcement level as compared to what's happening with the regime at the federal level. Very good piece yesterday on 60 Minutes. Anderson Cooper was the reporter, but it was what New York City police and local police departments generally are doing to respond to active shooter situations, the training they're doing. And an instructive interview, illuminating interview with New York Police Commissioner Bill Bratton. But one of the most interesting discussions was with John Miller, who's a counterterrorism expert who advises the New York City Police Department. And this was, you had to go on the website for their 60 Minutes extra to listen to his full interview. Listen to what he said about how the ISIS threat has matured, if you will, and how New York City and law enforcement at the local level is addressing the new reality.
What we're learning from Paris is a number of things. Number one, what we're seeing is a shift for ISIL, which is a group that used to appeal to people through their Twitter accounts to go out and kill somebody. Those were attackers that they hadn't vetted, didn't really know, hadn't trained. But the thought was if they appealed to enough of them, one or two of them might bumble into actually doing something. This is different from that. You know, what you see is 8 or more attackers, 6 of whom appear to have been in Syria as foreign fighters. That suggests that they have tactical training, some military experience. But what we're also learning is that you had a different kind of shooter there in Paris. You had a kind of shooter who didn't spray the crowd, took careful aim, chose their shots carefully. When one shooter went to change magazines to reload, another shooter would open with more fire until the other gunman had reloaded, and that they were working in close tandem coordination.
And what does that say to you?
That says that they spent some time somewhere where they got actual training. It wasn't that they handed out a bunch of guns, took people to the range and said, now let's go shoot people. There were tactics involved.
See, so and New York City Police Department, because of experts like John Miller, predicted this was going to be the evolution. And you see in the piece how they're training for the eventuality that came to occur in Paris. So there's somebody.
It was a well-planned attack.
Right, but the point is they're studying, they're thinking ahead, they're predicting what might happen and preparing. Now compare that to what Leon Panetta, President Obama's former defense secretary and CIA director, had to say about President Obama's approach to ISIS.
And we're going to have to take some very specific steps here. One is to unify this effort. As Richard Engel pointed out, this effort is not coordinated. People are not working together. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing on different targets. We need to unify the command. We need to set a joint command center where all of these countries are together on their objectives. And secondly, we need to increase our effort there. We need to increase the tempo of our airstrikes. We need to organize ground forces, particularly the Sunnis and the Kurds, and arm them so that they can take territory back from ISIS. And frankly, we need to increase special forces and our intelligence advisors, not only to guide these forces, but to go with them in order to ensure that we are successful in this effort.
And which of those measures that Leon Panetta outlined has President Obama suggested he's going to take to confront the new reality? None.
None. Instead, he's asked for the media help because it's all about rhetoric and watching what the media says. We don't want to incite violence. We don't want to look prejudice against Syrian refugees because then ISIS is going to win.
We're now happy to be joined by Congressman Peter Roskam. Congressman Roskam, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, guys. Good to be with you.
So what of that? I mean, messaging is important. As a great man once said, words are the currency of politics. That great man was me, of course. And
hey, that's quotable.
Yeah, thank you.
That's full quotable.
He quotes himself all the time, Congressman.
Really, yes. But I mean, the audacity, to borrow a word, of President Obama to suggest this is about the media's coverage and about the rhetoric we use, not about what Leon Panetta outlined in that clip we played. Your reaction?
My reaction is this is part of a pattern that we've seen from Barack Obama, and the pattern is this, to say, look, I've got it. I've got this under control, and if only you were as wise and sanguine as I am, then you would ultimately see that this is all part of a great plan, and the great plan is that I've got it under control. And, in fact, he doesn't. He's underestimated ISIS. We know that he called them the junior varsity from the get-go. He was wrong. We know that hours before the Paris attacks, he said ISIL was isolated. They are not. He was wrong. And now he's saying that our big problem, really our big problem, is that it's an issue of prejudice and so forth. It just shows how just completely out of step the president is in, number one, understanding the nature of the threat, and number two, marshaling the resources to do something about it. And we see this now manifesting itself all over the place on the world stage. He made a precipitous decision to leave Iraq early, as we all know, that was based on politics. And look, the type of training, the type of staging that you were citing in the 60 Minutes interview is all possible when they've got a place, a physical place that they're absolutely controlling, and they're asserting power, and they're running roughshod over Obama right now.
Well, how do you feel, and what's your stance on Syrian refugees and the pause button and religious testing? Should we only let Christian Syrian refugees in, or Muslims, or how do you feel?
Well, I obviously voted in favor of the House's action last week because it just makes common sense. Look, the Syrian refugees, it's a desperate situation, but the background ability and understanding who these refugees are and making sure that ISIL is not taking advantage of them is something that is not in place. So in light of that, we've got no choice, of course, but to say they can't come in. I'm not into making lists on religion. I'm not into making any kind of those sorts of things. But I'll tell you this: somebody I think on the other side is pushing hard because there's a disproportionate amount of Syrian Muslims who are getting into the United States as opposed to Syrian Christians. So, and this tension is out there, and it's got to be mitigated. But it doesn't help by the president basically admonishing the whole country.
Well, and also, too, I mean, the race identity demagoguery and the call for media assistance, this is him playing domestic politics instead of concerning himself with national security, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I think that is spot on. And this notion that it is all put into this sort of political correctness milieu where you're made to feel defensive if you've got feelings of like, look, I think we need to be protecting ourselves. I'm supposed to be defensive about that? No, nonsense. He's supposed to be defensive about not understanding the nature of the threat, mischaracterizing it, and failing to lead as the United States historically has led.
Is there any possibility that President Obama knows something that we don't know? Because I don't understand the cavalier attitude.
No, I don't think so. I mean, that's always a possibility when you're dealing with these sorts of security and intelligence situations. But, Amy, I'm of the view that this really does fit this other pattern that the president has demonstrated throughout his presidency. And it is cavalier, and it is fairly dismissive, in my view, the nature of the threat. And now, we've got this vulnerability where now President Hollande of France is going to be under a lot of pressure from Vladimir Putin as it relates to the sanctions. Why? Because President Obama has mismanaged this situation, and he's created an opening for Vladimir Putin that is really, really significant. So watch what's going on and the impact that this is going to have on Ukraine and so forth, because I'm of the opinion that Putin is going to be using this as an opportunity to manipulate the West, because he's got a great tool right now that says, hey, active fighters, active situation and urgency versus, holding off against his aspirations as it relates to Ukraine.
We're talking to Congressman Peter Roskam. And Congressman Roskam, what about this matter? Speaking of kind of conducting this war via press release, the Obama administration blocked 75% of the intended strikes this year, according to U.S. military pilots. Just by way of comparison, 8,000 airstrikes on ISIS this year. Compare that to the first year of the air campaign in the first Gulf War in 1991. There were 100,000 airstrikes. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, if assuming it's true, and I have no reason to doubt it, but assuming it's true, it goes to the intensity, it goes to understanding the nature of the threat, and it goes to the president's dismissive nature of this whole situation. And that's why you can begin to say that someone can come to this conclusion: they're the junior varsity, that is ISIS, or they're contained and they're not contained. And if you're, if you basically predetermined, as he has essentially what I guess the best way to put it is, the president sees the world like he wants to see the world, as opposed to how the world really is.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And he also may have some help in terms of conjuring this false image of the world from military analysts. Over the weekend, New York Times, Pentagon expanding inquiry into intelligence on ISIS surge. When ISIS fighters took over a string of Iraqi cities last year, analysts at U.S. Central Command wrote assessments from military intelligence officials and policymakers that documented the retreat of the Iraqi army. But before the assessments were final, former intelligence officials are saying the superiors of those analysts made significant changes to essentially cook the intelligence to downplay the significance of the retreat, and this inquiry is expanding. What's your sense of the importance of that inquiry and where it goes?
It's hugely important, because if you're not getting intelligence that's accurate and forthright, then you're basically flying blind. And it's a scandal if it's true as well, because the United States taxpayer is paying millions of dollars for intelligence. And the assumption is that the intelligence is accurate. And if you don't have good intelligence, and if it's being manipulated at that level, then policymakers are made blind to what the facts are. It's policymakers' responsibility to take the intelligence and make decisions. It's intelligence officials' responsibility to give them the facts.
All right. Congressman Peter Roskam, thanks as always for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Stay warm.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine right now, but chilly temperatures. 25 degrees right now at O'Hare. Going up to a balmy high of 36 degrees. And then tonight, a low of 22 degrees. And tomorrow, a little bit better. Partly sunny. A high near 40 degrees. Let's get the travel times. Any good news out on the roadway? Here's Dominic Fortini.
Not looking that much better on the inbound Eden. Still 31 minutes. Lake Hook into the junction. Problems continue on the inbound Kennedy as well. An hour 1 from O'Hare to downtown. 41 in from the junction. 28 and heavy in the express lanes. Not as heavy, though, on the inbound side of the Ike, where it's an hour 24 from Thorndale into the post office, an hour 8 in from Manheim. Plenty of brake lights to tie you up between Manheim and Western. You're also pretty solid inbound Stevenson in between Harlem and Lakeshore Drive, an hour 15 from 355 into Lakeshore, 55 in from the Tri-State as well. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Did you get the info? Fortini.
Fortini.
Yeah, sorry about that, Dominic. Amy needs to get hooked on phonics. You've heard me talking about the new website, upstream-ideas.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, then you're missing thoughtful, expository content you won't find anywhere else from those who've operated in the political and policy arenas. Each week, you can watch the latest episode of Against the Current. That's our long-form interview series with policymakers and opinion leaders. This week, none other than Fox News Channel national security analyst KT McFarland. You want to check that out. You can also watch Illinois by the Numbers, our video series that breaks down Illinois one number at a time to explain what the policy challenges are, why we have them, and what we can do about them. This week, the number 97. And you can check out highlights from each Sunday's Illinois Rising program, which tackles state and local politics and policy. This week featuring John Tillman and many others. At Upstream Ideas, questions are asked that don't get asked anywhere else. Points of view are heard that are not heard anywhere else. Learn how to change the rules of the game so they cannot be gamed by the connected against the unconnected. No sacred cows, no punches pulled. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Here's Dr. Howard, formulator of Balance of Nature, an all-natural, 100% organic fruit and vegetable supplement.
Did you know 40% of all cancer could be prevented? That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Get real today with Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
12 days of Christmas? Not likely. At Tasty Catering, their chefs have been cooking up brand new winter menu items all year long. So when the temperature drops and you start humming holiday jingles, they're ready to serve you the best holiday party catering feast around.
The highly anticipated Tasty Catering holiday menus are already available online for you to browse. And what's more, the Tasty Catering staff is ready to use their award-winning service to get you into the holiday spirit.
Holiday party planners from companies throughout Chicagoland, from downtown to the far suburbs. Tasty Catering invites you to their kitchens to taste some delicious holiday menu items. Then let their friendly team help you plan the most successful holiday party yet.
Don't wait. Call them today at 847-593-2000 or visit tastycatering.com to schedule a holiday lunch date on them.
Visit tastycatering.com now. Full menus are online and their staff has an invitation waiting for you to come and sample.
tastycatering.com, 847-593-2000.
Hi, Dr. Kobaba here. Let me give you some details on today's Health Quest special. It's our quick test, a 30-second test to make a quick assessment of your current state of health. We'll test your metabolic engine, your percentage of fat weight, measure your lifespan of your cells, calculate your vitality factor, susceptibility to diseases, conditions, and infections. We'll measure your body's mass index and more. Reserve your quick test appointment today and we'll include, free of charge, your report of findings with me on that very same day. So get your quick test and report of findings with me, and then I'll give you some simple instructions to follow for 30 days to improve your health, and then, well, you'll come back to be retested, and then we'll strategize from there. If you reserve your quick test with us today, well, you're going to get your second one at half the price. That's right. So call our Health Quest Radio hotline, 800-794-1855. Please do it now. That's 800-794-1855.
AM 560, The Answer.
Is that the theme from LA Law? Oh
No.
my gosh. Wow. That's a throwback. Nice pull. I love arcane references. So it looks like, Amy, we do not need to abide Dick the Butcher's call from Henry VI.
Oh, God.
You know what I mean by that, of course?
Sure, I do. I read it on a bathroom stall once. Yes.
You often find Shakespeare in bathroom stalls. First kill all the lawyers.
Oh.
You don't have to. They're doing it to themselves.
Is it a high suicide rate?
A study. Lawyers have the lowest health and well-being among all white-collar workers, according to a new study. They're the highest users and abusers of alcohol and nicotine.
Mm.
The findings suggest that lawyers who work in law firms have the lowest psychological and psychosomatic health and well-being because of stressful workloads, all that stealing, overtime, and
stealing. They're representing.
I have a JD, but it doesn't mean I.
So you have you ever litigated a case?
No.
No, because you have your JD.
I never took the bar. Yeah. I wanted to resist even the temptation to practice law.
Why didn't you take it? You didn't think you could pass it, Dan?
Yeah, I didn't want to have a Richie Daley, JFK Jr. problem. Michelle Obama, too. She took her twice.
Yeah.
No, that's not why.
I'm sure you would pass it, though. If you, I just have a feeling. I believe in you, Dan, that you would pass it on your first try.
Did you ever? Did I ever tell you the experiment I wanted to do?
No.
With lawyers, don't go to law school. Don't spend $100,000 to go to law school for 3 years, or $100,000, $150,000. Just take the bar prep class and compare the scores between a group of subjects that just took the bar prep class and then took the bar versus those that went through law school, took the bar, and then took the bar exam.
Because you
took the
just
bar
think
prep
all
course
you
and then
need
took the
is
bar
a
exam.
prep course.
And the third group
Yes.
went to law school, didn't take the bar prep class, and then took the bar. Wouldn't that be interesting, those results?
God, I
only to me.
often wake up in the middle of the night and wonder how that would pan out.
Maybe we could go together to the ABA and see if they'll commission the study, and we could be the researchers. Wouldn't that be fun? A little side project?
I can't think of anything more in this world I would like to do.
Something for the winter months when we're
Yeah.
all shut in here. But no, so lawyers, and we'll take your lawyer jokes all morning.
Oh,
For the rest
okay.
of the week, frankly. What do
There's a half hour to the show, but we'll take them all morning.
What do you call the 1,000 lawyers at the bottom of a sea?
Oh, my God. Dead weight?
Oh, come on. You don't know that one?
I don't know that one. What?
A good start. Thank you very much.
give me
Take my
another
wife,
one.
please.
Give me another one.
Why do lawyers have the lowest health and highest rates of alcohol use, according to this study?
I don't know.
Because they deserve it.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. If you have a pre-existing condition, a canceled plan, or your premium increased, now's the time to get covered. 2016 open enrollment begins on November 1st and ends on January 31st. During this 90-day window, you cannot be denied coverage. Depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. The new healthcare law is very complicated and you do need guidance. It costs you nothing to use a broker, so why not tap into my expertise?
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
Possibly. Woo. Hey, ChicagoRadioDeals.com wants you to take some time for yourself to relax, renew, recharge. And here's a perfect way to lower your stress level and bring balance to your life. Make a visit to the Primal Ocean Salt Cave in LaGrange. Your stress begins to disappear when you step into the pink Himalayan salt cave or float on a bed of water that envelops you in color and warmth. Make time for deep relaxation in the aqua massage bed or feel renewed with the Ionic Detox foot bath. Experience it all now with packages that include one salt cave session plus either one aqua massage or aqua escape session.
That music is making me feel lightheaded.
Ionic Detox foot bath. This stress relief package, normally $70, only $40 at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Primal Ocean Salt Cave spa treatments are a great to take a vacation from the everyday. Plus, get this, Dan, you can stay fully clothed and dry the entire time.
Do they have harpists on site?
Yes, they're there now. You'll love how calm and refreshed you'll feel. If you haven't tried this yet, do it now. The Primal Ocean Salt Cave deals are very limited. For more information, just visit ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
Oh, my stress is gone. Hey, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, if you want to know about a man, simply ask his children.
And at 8:48, a Vietnamese man who's being fooked by Facebook.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
And if you really want to relax, go about 5 doors down from the Primal Ocean Salt Cave. Go to Palmer Place, get a 3-cheese mushroom burger, and you'll be happy forever. 28 degrees, clouds and sunshine. And police in Brussels say more than 5 have been detained following a series of raids today. The arrest did not include Salah Abdeslam, suspect in the Paris terror attacks. Meantime, the Belgian capital remains on high alert as a security lockdown stretches into day 3. Secretary of State John Kerry weighs in on the terror threat here in the United States, telling NBC's Today Show there is no specific threat in the U.S. this morning.
There is always, as we've said to people for years, the threat of some actor, some lone wolf person, someone who slipped through. That's the world we're living in today, and we understand that.
John Kerry on NBC's Today Show. 2 are dead after a U.S. military helicopter crashed in South Korea. The Apache helicopter went down with a pilot and crew member on board. Police are hunting for suspects in New Orleans after 16 were injured in a shooting at a park. A teen in Indiana is under arrest connected with the murder of a pastor's pregnant wife. Police announced early this morning that 18-year-old Larry Taylor was arrested and charged in the murder of Amanda Blackburn. Chicago Teachers Union planning a rally tonight at Grant Park, the event coming at a time when about 5,000 teachers could be laid off before year's end. And the reward to locate the killer of an aspiring Chicago area model is being increased to $26,000. Kaylin Pryor was gunned down earlier this month waiting for a bus in the Inglewood neighborhood. The news service of Unbound, poverty doesn't discriminate. Feeds on the forgotten. At Unbound, they believe in the collective wisdom of society's oldest and most vulnerable members. Providing sponsorship for the elderly is just one way Unbound is different. Learn more at unbound.org. 8:33 is our time. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher believes college campuses are in trouble.
What's happened at the University of Missouri? I'm dumbfounded by the resignation of the president of this school. They're going to use your resignation and now hold college presidents and administrators and chancellors hostage if they don't get their way. America's college campuses are headed for such trouble right now.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
I love the product, and I highly recommend it to anybody.
Boy, oh boy, I feel terrific. Nothing compares with this. It's a great product. I love it. I haven't been sick since I've used it. A little bit more than a year, or just about a year now. Never the case before.
I have noticed a remarkable difference.
I don't want to stop using it. It has really kicked into my system. I just believe in it. That's all I can say.
I feel more sustained. It's good. I'm not fatiguing as much.
Really making a difference in my life.
The quality of my sleep has improved exponentially.
They're just awesome.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
8:35 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. In for Jim this morning, here's Dominic Fortini.
Plenty of problems headed inbound on the inbound Edens, 31 minutes. Lake Hook into the junction. Things start slowing up near Devon, while on the inbound Kennedy, tight from Nagel into the Burns Circle. An hour 1 O'Hare to downtown. 41 in from the junction. 28 in the inbound Express. Big time hassles continue on the inbound side of the Eisenhower. An hour 43 from Thorndale into the post office. An hour 17 in from Manheim. And plenty of slow spots inbound side of the Stevenson this morning. It's stop and go Harlem to Lakeshore. An hour 22 from 355 into the drive. An hour in from the Tri-State. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Not as cold today. Times of clouds and sun, high 36. 28 at O'Hare. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. On AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Radio Garden Sense, a show bringing your property's gardening needs alive. Radio Garden Sense, Sunday mornings at 11 on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, before you read about it on Facebook or Twitter, well, hear about it from your friends. Find out what today's big stories really mean with me, Sean Hannity, today at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
No Coldplay.
Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson here. Good Monday morning to you. And I often say, Dan, if you want to know about a man, you should speak with his children.
That's why I don't have children, because I couldn't take the review.
Well, what Barbara Wawa did over the weekend on Friday night, I'm addicted to 2020. I watch every Friday night because I have no life, and that's what I do. I'm a little bit of a news junkie.
Clearly.
But she sat down with 4 of the oldest Trump children. Donald Jr., 37. Ivanka, who I think is your favorite, she's 34. Eric is 31.
How old's Melania?
She's in her early 40s. So she's near Donald Jr.'s age. But they didn't talk about that, Dan. Those 3 kids came from Ivanka, the first wife.
Ivana,
yes, the
Ivanka's
first wife.
the daughter.
Then
Marla Maples.
Then he married Marla Maples after that, and they had a daughter named Tiffany. Tiffany Trump, nice name. She's 22 years old. She sat down with her siblings, and they talked about, first of all, their dad's accessibility. I mean, because there's so many rumors out there. He was never there for you. He didn't really raise you. Your mom's raised you, and he just kind of parented, from above and not really get involved. And they disputed that.
I would challenge him on that because he was very available to us and accessible to us.
Regardless of what he was doing, regardless of who he was meeting with, if we called, he took the phone. I mean, from when we were 6 years old, I'd call. He'd be negotiating with the CEO of a major bank or whatever it may be. and he would make them wait. He'd take the call from us.
Our times together were learning, playing in his office. He would always sneak me down to get a candy bar, in the lobby.
He found a way that was true to him to connect with us that maybe is a little less traditional. His work is his passion, and he found a way to share it with us.
Yeah, and now all three of the older Trumps, Donald, Ivanka, and Eric, they work for the Trump company, and they're executives and vice presidents.
I got to say, the Trump kids, particularly Ivanka, who's been perhaps the most public,
she's the favorite.
They seem pretty squared away to me. So, I mean, there is something to be said for he and his ex-wives who've raised, and I guess Melania now, his wife, who've raised these children, because they do seem like they're very sharp and put together and making their own way. And, other than Ivanka's need to improve her comedic timing.
Yeah, that cameo she did on SNL was awful. It fell flat.
Bit rough. But other than that, I mean, these are pretty talented people, it seems to me.
And, they grew up with money. And Donald Trump, even though they had all the money in the world, he made them earn $1.
He was the first to tell us how privileged we are, and with that privilege, how much responsibility we had to really sort of earn what we were so lucky to have been afforded since birth.
Well, that's the right word, earn. I mean, he made us work. We were on construction sites and we were working, and at the end of the day, you were tired and you earned minimum wage, and you take that money that you had and you go out and spend on something good.
To say we weren't spoiled would be laughable. But we were spoiled with great education, great experiences. But we weren't the kids showing up to college with, a Ferrari. We always had to sort of earn whatever it is that we wanted. And that, I think, prevented us from doing a lot of the other things that you've seen as, downfalls perhaps in other children who have similar circumstances.
I got to tell you again, I mean.
They were so impressive. Wow.
The quality of thought behind answers like that, it's impressive.
And the 22-year-old Tiffany, the youngest one, well, the youngest is actually 10 with his current wife, but
that's Melania.
But
your jealousy is palpable.
No, I'm not. She's a star student at the University of Pennsylvania, and that's where her father went, and she earned her way in there. She didn't, ride his coattails into that university, so she's a smart kid.
Well, whether she did or not, they're not pretending to have like this false Horatio Alger story like politicians do, saying, yeah, we came from privilege. We had access to things that a lot of other people didn't. We recognize it. We appreciate it. But then we also made our own way, and these are the lessons that we were taught by Dad and I assume by Mom as well. And, so that's pretty good. I mean, frankly, I said this before when Ivanka first, when she did that sit-down interview. I'm trying to remember who it was.
Oh, CNN.
Was it CNN?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was, right. More Ivanka. Maybe a little bit less Trump. I mean, the kids are pretty sharp.
And they said, when they went to college, they didn't show up in Ferraris as other rich kids did. They were very...
Amy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I didn't show up. I had a Skylark with stick shift,
really?
4-cylinder engine.
That was your first car?
Yep, and I had to teach people how to drive stick, because if I was tired driving from Iowa City back to Chicago, I would literally pull over somewhere off I-80 and teach them how to drive stick so that they could go the rest of the way home. Give me a break.
They were making the Skylark in the 70s when you were 16?
Wow.
That doesn't, wait.
It's the 80s. That's so rude.
I know.
Anywho, so they
My first car? Thank you for asking.
Wait, hold on. Hey, Dan, what was your first car?
I'm glad you asked. It was a Ferrari. No, it was a 1985 Skyhawk.
Oh, you had a Skyhawk?
Skyhawk.
I had the Skylark.
Yeah.
It's another... they're in the same family.
Yeah, the Skylark is a little bit more flashy. Skyhawk more functional.
It's a 2-door car, 4-cylinder engine.
It's like a hot rod.
You had a V8 engine in yours.
No, I did not.
Yeah,
it was a 4-cylinder engine.
All right, maybe a V6.
Anyway, I would barely get myself to my Tony private school.
Could I play this last bite?
Please.
Okay, so the kids are all, then Barbara Walters said, has your dad said anything that has embarrassed you? And all the kids said, no, my dad doesn't care about political correctness. That's why people love him, because he says what he feels and what he thinks should be happening in our country. But the fun part of the interview is when Barbara Walters asked, who's the favorite child here? And everybody's like, oh, please. And I yell out at the TV, it's Ivanka. It's Ivanka. And yeah, it's Ivanka, because she introduced her dad many, many times.
Today, I have the honor of introducing a man who needs no introduction.
How was it decided that you would be the one who would introduce your father as a
presidential candidate?
She's hot. That's an excellent question, and I don't know actually how it was decided, but I was honored to do it, and I feel like I was standing there sort of representing our family.
And she did an amazing job, by the way.
She's a great messenger. She got such great poise. I think it also, the way Ivanka delivered the message was perfect, and I don't think any of us could have done better.
And she absolutely has beauty over the two of us. So.
Yes, there's definitely an element that we ain't got that.
Tiffany sitting in the corner got slammed on that one.
Yeah, everybody bow to the queen.
Tiffany got hit with the ugly stick
No.
compared to Ivanka.
Also, boy, a lot more politically adept.
Oh, these kids are
Pretty
they're,
sharp.
They're smart.
The most
and
shock-
they don't drink. Their dad never has ever.
Yeah, he
ever,
said that.
Well, he doesn't drink at all, and they said he's never even been interested in alcohol. It's not a part of his life. It's not a part of our lives.
I'm not sure I can trust anybody who doesn't drink.
Well,
But,
Donald Trump doesn't drink at all, so
yeah.
that's one thing he has in common with Mitt Romney.
Right. Good point.
Thank you.
To my point.
I'll be back tomorrow at 5 a.m.
By the way, the most shocking thing about this interview,
What?
Barbara Walters is still alive.
Oh, we.
I had no idea.
Stop
It's
it.
wild. Tom and Schomburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
What a comparison. For the past 7 years, the Obama kids have been completely inaccessible to the media. The Trump kids spent more time with the media in that one interview than the Obama kids did in the past 7 years.
Well. To be
Excuse
fair,
me,
the
the
Obama
kids.
girls, the Obama girls are like they were pre-adolescents for most of that time.
Well, they were 7 and 6 when they, or no, 9 and 6 when they entered the White House.
Thanks for the
so
call, Tom. I mean,
Kind of hands off.
I mean,
you
you're
know, they
talking-
didn't interview Amy Carter, and she was young when she
We're
was in the
talking
White
about
House.
you're talking about people in their 20s and 30s, so it's a little bit different. Let's be fair.
But thanks
let's
for
be,
calling.
Let's be fair to Malia and Sasha.
It's Sasha and Malia.
The order matters.
No, they're.
When I said for you, it's Peyton and Eli. Don't
Right.
say Eli and Peyton. I got it. Sean from Elmwood Park.
I'll tell you, it was like watching a Weekend at Bernie's 3. I can't believe that old lady's still going. But I have to tell you, aside from the kids interview, which you can tell a lot about a guy, these kids are great kids. There's no question about it. But I'm concerned because what I'm seeing again is more of this politics of anything but issues. And that's a real problem for me, because I want to know about Trump. I'm very concerned with the Weimar Republic economic plan of tariffs. I'm very concerned with this. As you hear him talk, it just sounds to me a lot like Obama on the other side of the coin. It's always about this totalitarian, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and we're going to be great again. I want my separation of powers back. I want a guy like Roscoe, who is one of the few politicians I don't want to throw down a flight of stairs. I want him to have a voice. I want my congressman to be in control of my debt, of my spending. I am not interested in this rogue dictatorship. I'll do it my way, and you'll sit there and shut up. And another thing, just real quick about Roscoe. What he's really accusing Obama of is delusion, if anyone's really listening. The sad part is the rest of the Republicans will not get on board. I am telling you, this guy is a rogue dictator, and he is out of control. I don't need him giving me the argument of condescension and talking down to me as if I was some kid in a professor's class. You are to do what I tell you to do. I don't do what you tell me to do.
Yeah.
I heard you ask somebody once what kind of a tree would you like to be?
I did not. Now, while we're
Yes,
clearing
you
up
did.
misconceptions, but you know why I did?
What kind of a tree would
Now,
you
just
like to be?
What kind of a tree would you
question
like
is
to be?
like be a tumbleweed.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine today, and where did my weather forecast go? Here it is.
Fortini.
A high of
Fortini.
a high of 36 degrees. Tonight a low of 22, and tomorrow partly sunny skies, a high of near 40. Now let's get the travel times from Dominic Fortini.
Nailed it.
Thank you.
Inbound Eden's 31 minutes. Lake Cook into the junction. Still jam-packed on the inbound Kennedy. An hour 12 O'Hare to downtown. 48 in from the junction express lanes. No picnic either. They're at 33 minutes inbound. Inbound Eisenhower, an hour 43 from Thorndale into the post office. Heavy delays begin right near Manheim into Western. If you're traveling outbound on the Ike, 28 minutes from the post office to Manheim. 49 to Thorndale. And tie-ups continue on the inbound Stevenson. Stop and go Harlem to Lakeshore. It's an hour 22 from 355 into the drive, an hour in from the Tri-State. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560. The Answer.
Gather your friends, your family, and coworkers to team up for a holiday party that will be remembered for years to come. Make 10 Pin Bowling Lounge your destination for your office party or get-together. 10-Pin isn't just bowling, but it will be the place where Amy and I do a bowling showdown. Yeah. We're going to put that 160 average that has been much bandied about.
152.
152 average. We're going to put that to the test. I'll tell you that right now, sister.
Well, what's your average?
I don't have one. I don't bowl that much.
Well, then I'm going to destroy you. And
my natural athleticism will take over.
Oh, God.
10-Pin is a cool, comfortable, upscale lounge with great music, delicious food, and a tempting drink list. You have to see their 128-foot video wall featuring your favorite sports teams or your own presentation. And you'll be on your game on one of the 24 state-of-the-art bowling lanes. If the pins don't go down as easily as the martinis, burgers, and conversation, don't worry. That's only part of the fun. Let their expert team of party planners customize your event, big or small. There's room for everyone. So enjoy your next happy hour, corporate outing, or party at 10-Pin Bowling Lounge downtown on State Street, right next to the House of Blues. Come for the bowling or just come for everything else. Get started today at 10pinchicago.com. That's 10pinchicago.com.
SquareTrade does not cover lost or stolen items. Savings based on 2-year iPhone plan with 1 claim compared to Asurion total equipment coverage as of August 10, 2015.
Getting a new iPhone? Get this. Every 2 seconds, one of us accidentally breaks our phone. So protecting all the phones in your family is a smart idea. But if you have insurance through your wireless carrier, you're paying way too much. I'm Steve Abernethy, and I founded SquareTrade to give you a better choice. Phone insurance through your wireless carrier can cost as much as $11 a month. For a family of 4, that's $44 every month. Plus, up to a $199 deductible when you break your phone. SquareTrade family protection plans cost less than $4 a month per phone with a much lower deductible. We can save your family over $500. Whether you've got a new iPhone or any other smartphone, stop overpaying for phone insurance and protect all the phones in your family with SquareTrade instead.
Protect all the phones in your family with SquareTrade and save over $500. Visit squaretrade.com. That's squaretrade.com.
This is a public announcement to all vermin, to all rats, mice, bats, squirrels, and raccoons. If you just made yourself at home in someone else's home, you'd better hope the owners never hear about Terminix, because Terminix has the know-how and the means to do whatever it takes to remove you from that home permanently. Terminix is the most trusted, most effective pest exterminating company in the country, and right now they're making it easier than ever for homes to be protected by offering free pest controlling information and a guaranteed solution to every caller at 1-800-922-7545. Rats, mice, and other vermin, this is your eviction notice. With one call, Terminix will remove you from the home you've invaded. If you think you can simply come back later, think again. Terminix will seal off that home from roof to basement so you can never return. Limitations may apply. Warning, homeowners are calling Terminix right now for free pest controlling information and a guaranteed solution at 1-800-922-7545. 1-800-922-7545.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now, and make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
My name is Fook.
Watch your mouth,
Fook.
mister.
FCC probably monitoring this segment. Fook Dat Bish.
What? Dude, you can't say that on the radio.
This is the name of a Vietnamese man who lives in Australia who is complaining that his Facebook account keeps getting shut down.
Why is that, Dad?
Because of his name, PHUC.
Wait, let me write this down.
Space.
P what?
PHUC.
HUC.
Space DAT.
DAT dot.
Space BICH. Now,
don't make me say that.
Now that's pronounced
Yes.
Foodabik. But if, there are kind of Americanized version of it, just trying to sound it out, you can understand what it may be mispronounced to be. Mr. Bick, he posted a photo of his passport that showed his full name to confirm that is his real name. It's not a joke. He's not trying to be cute.
Foodabik.
PH? Isn't PHF?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Foo.
Foo.
Food.
Like,
Tubby.
yeah, like.
You mean, it reminds me of when
Wait a second.
Okay,
Hold on. Mr. Bick said, Foo, I'm my first friends. I find it highly irritating the fact that nobody seems to believe me when I say that my full legal name is how you see it, although he won't even say it. That's how afraid he is.
So he
to
just calls
offend.
himself Foo? Like to his friends and, hey, how you doing, Foo?
Mr. Bick.
Oh, Mr. Bick?
Yeah. Foo da Bick. Not Foo da... Okay.
Do you know what my dry cleaner's name is?
No, what is your dry cleaner?
Well, his name is Mr. Lee. He's our neighborhood dry cleaner.
I don't see a
on
problem with
Ashland
that.
or over there.
I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, but he would not tell me his first name for a good 8 years.
What's his
Finally, I went in there like, what is your first name? Just tell me.
They call
you know
me
my
Bruce?
name?
Bruce?
No, his name is a bad name.
His name is it Foo?
No.
Foo da Bick?
No, it's
Lee?
No, it's the C word. That's 4 letters long.
Wow.
And that's his
Melvina, Paulina, and Mr. Lee.
We live right by Palladium.
This is not a just so we are not San Francisco. Isn't it San Francisco Anchors?
Yeah.
We are not. This is not a San Francisco Anchors routine. This is the gentleman's real name, and he's getting, shut out of the enjoyment that Facebook provides because his name appears to be something other than it actually is. If Mark Zuckerberg and team weren't such racists and they knew how to pronounce his Vietnamese name properly, right?
How many times have they taken it down?
He said it'd been taken down at least. He just said several times. He keeps trying. Stick with it, Foo.
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious.
That's my
and
boy,
don't call me
Foo.
Shirley.
And the only reason why we're doing this is because we can play our favorite drop of all times. It was a little nasty, but it's funny.
We have new information now also on the plane crash. KTVU has just learned the names of the 4 pilots who were on board the flight. They are Captain Sum Ting Wong, Wee Tu Lo, Ho Lee and Bang Ding Ao. The NTSB has confirmed these are the names of the pilots on board Flight 214 when it crashed.
Thomas Sowell says the least intelligent form of life is a committee. I dispute that. I think it's a network affiliate news anchor.
All he seemed to be able to do is scream to his audience, what's my MFing name?
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Procrastination is a favorite form of self-sabotage, and with the end of the year approaching fast, December 31st is too late to take advantage of a Roth conversion or extra 401k contributions for 2015. It's also too late to minimize capital gains taxes or make a charitable gift to reduce your taxable income. These are just a few ideas available in the valuable free report End of Year Planning Guide from the Alpha Wealth Group in Chicago. Simple and effective ideas to keep more money in your pocket working for you this year and beyond. Imagine the impact of reaching your goals much sooner. End the year on a high note and give yourself a head start on strategies for 2016 and beyond. Stop the self-sabotage. Don't procrastinate. Call the Alpha Wealth Group now for your free report. End of Year Planning Guide at 630-519-4742. That's 630-519-4742. Or visit alphawealthgroup.com. 630-519-4742. Call now. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors Incorporated.
The following is an incredible, life-changing free offer for anyone with hearing problems who wants to start hearing everything more clearly again. We're now offering free in-home trials of a revolutionary hearing breakthrough called Listen Clear to anyone who calls this special toll-free number now, 1-800-943-5856. Call in the next 10 minutes and you'll also qualify for free shipping and free batteries for life. Listen Clear is precisely designed by top audio engineers. It adjusts to let you find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And Listen Clear is so invisible, people may not even know you're wearing it. And it's so lightweight, you may even forget you're wearing it too. Don't miss this special life-changing opportunity to hear everything more clearly again for free with a 100% free in-home trial, free shipping, and even free batteries for life. For free information, call now. 1-800-943-5856. That's 1-800-943-5856. 1-800-943-5856.
So, I'm retiring today.
Freedom!
I hate goodbyes, so I've hired singers to follow me around and bid my coworkers farewell.
It's John's last day.
Okay, let's get started. Here's Tom.
Your pranks were amazing, despite what HR says.
Next, Susan.
Your homemade cookies blew his mind and diet.
Finally, Dave.
You never judged him for his popcorn burning.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss you guys.
Ready to give your swan song at work? The Mutual Fund Store can help. We'll sit down with you one-on-one to talk about your goals. Then we'll put a plan in place to help get you on track. Finally, we'll keep a close eye on your account to make sure you stay on track. Discover how within reach your retirement could be for you with a free portfolio review and consultation.
Hi, I'm Matt Personette with the Mutual Fund Store in Chicagoland. Call me at 888-498-3636 or visit mutualfundstore.com and let's talk about your financial goals today.
You're my boy, fool.
Stop it. Are we going to get in trouble for that one?
I don't
know. Thanks so much for joining us today, David Stripling, our technical director, Anna Cesar Perez, the executive producer.
Shake and bake.
And Dan, I'm so sorry. I brought in my homemade meatloaf this morning, and you didn't get any.
No.
Hey, Ma! Can we get some meatloaf? Hey, Ma! The meatloaf! We want it now! The meatloaf!
That's what everybody at the station's been screaming at me to bring in my award-winning meatloaf. I brought it in today. It was wonderful. Maybe next time I'll give you some.
I'll look forward to that. Yeah.
Now let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning once again to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, the stories we're following right now. Chicago Teachers Union planning a rally for tonight in Grant Park. Michael Jordan reaches a settlement over unauthorized ads, and the Bears fall to the Broncos at Soldier Field. Not as cold today. Clouds and sunshine mixed. A complete look at weather after Fox News and WIND Chicago News Time is 9 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. More than 24 raids in Belgium have 21 possible terror suspects detained, but they still haven't gotten the most wanted fugitive from the French terror attacks, Saleh Abdeslam, as the Belgian capital remains on lockdown.
There have been warnings of another ISIS cell here, waiting to launch a Paris-style attack in multiple locations.
Fox's Benjamin Hall in Brussels.
People here are starting to ask how Saleh is still at large 10 days after the attack. Now, we've heard from people that he's reached out to some of his friends via Skype, that he is agitated and he's desperately trying to get from Brussels to Syria, wearing a suicide attack belt and very dangerous.
The French government is considering tightening